got a long history with Tony since the moment I moved to San Diego, actually. But Tony's going to jump on. He does a couple podcasts for SDFC. He will be on coming up at 12:30 to talk about SDFC, Team USA, and the World Cup, the ban on tailgating, all of that craziness we will get into with Tony. Some show news. We do have these tickets, SD Fight Night. That'll be given away sometime throughout the show today. So keep on listening if you want to go see Juju Ballo, who is on his way to hopefully becoming a world champion, fighting out of San Diego. That's coming up this Saturday night. If you want to win a pair of tickets, just keep listening. If you want to buy tickets, I saw earlier today, by the way, there's floor seats for under $100 to this fight. So I would jump on that in a hurry at sdfightnight.com. Floor seats for under $100. That seems like an absolute steal. So see if you can jump on that. And then also I had one more thing that I wanted to tell everybody as a show announcement. Oh, I know what it is. Arash Markazi, one of the best voices on the Lakers, will be joining the show Friday before their series with the Houston Rockets. All right, we are going to start with the Padres today. How about last night, huh? Brian Wu on the mound for the Seattle Mariners, and all Xander Bogaerts does is continue to have this red-hot start to the season. I don't know if we're trusting it or not, but it sure is good to see Xander Bogaerts batting in a bunch of runs. Luis Campusano had some awesome quotes after the game. Maybe we'll play those for you a little bit later on. Couple F-bombs out of Luis Campusano in the Padres locker room, which is always fun to see. And Fernando Tatis Jr. continues to be hot at the plate. Mason Miller continues to be not just the best closer, but the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, as he maybe looked the worst he's looked in a long time. And it was still a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Padres closer. So the Padres continue, and they're playing some really good ball right now. I tell you, Ty France making excellent plays at first base. The bats seeming to come alive a little bit. Sammy, things are looking pretty good for the brown and the gold.
That was impressive last night. I got to give him a great win. Get him credit because that Mariner team was coming in on a 4-game winning streak, had a lot to play for. And again, you're kind of tempering expectations in the last week because it's great seeing a mash against the Rockies, but it's kind of hard to sit here and take a lot away from that series when it is the Colorado Rockies and they're devoid of a lot of talent. But that's impressive. I mean, despite their record, I know the Mariners haven't had the best start to the season, but that's a very talented ball club. It was nice seeing, there wasn't some crazy offensive display, but they did enough what they had to do. The Mariners take that early 1-0 lead. I'm sitting there watching the game like, is this going to be another one of these where the bats are lifeless? And they came to light, and that's kind of a vintage Padres performance. They got a lead, the bullpen held it, got it to them, and they were fantastic. So yeah, great win. Hopefully they close out the series, but that was cool stealing one against Brian Wu. And considering that Pavetta's injured, Musgrove's injured, you have so many injuries to this starting staff. We talk about the importance of winning the Michael King and Randy Vasquez starts. You kind of have to, because you don't know what you're getting from Germán Marquez or Walker Buehler, the back end of the rotation on any given night. So shout out to Michael King, shout out to for the bats for coming alive. It was impressive win last night.
Yeah, if we're looking for something to complain about, there wasn't power. That just wasn't there again. But Xander Bogaerts, 3 hits, 3 RBI. I mean, you take that when you can get it. Now, the bad news for the Padres here, so it became official today. Pivetta will be spending some time on the IL. Apparently, he got the MRI on Monday, and the Padres are still awaiting results. I'm sure they have those results. They're just not making them public. So whatever you think is whatever you think. We have nothing further from the Padres. We do know that Matt Waldron's going to take his place in the rotation. So you think about what Matt Waldron did a couple years ago for the Padres. He buoyed things for a while. He blew up towards the end of the season. But man, Matt Waldron was really good for the Pods a couple years ago, and we'll see if he can recapture some of that. The knuckleballer will be taking Nick Pivetta's spot in the rotation, at least for the next couple starts, you would imagine, right? Even if things go perfectly for Nick Pivetta and he only misses, the 15 days retroactive to Monday. So what would that be? A week and a half, 2 weeks almost? 2 weeks from right now. Even if Nick Pivetta misses both those weeks, you're probably going to need 2 or 3 starts for Matt Waldron. And then we'll see if Nick Pivetta can come back. But for now, he's going to the IL. All we know is 15-day IL. We've heard that a lot over the years with Padres.
Right. It's hard to trust him because even the Joe Musgrove injury, Joe Musgrove was.
Well, how about the fact that they say he got the MRI Monday and they're still awaiting results?
Right.
Like, what are we
Padres
supposed to
are
think?
very cagey with that. I mean,
what are we supposed to think?
Very odd. So it's concerning. I mean, it's again, it just kind of what I said a few minutes ago. It puts a lot of pressure, and credit to him last night for winning a Michael King start, but you have to win the Michael King and Randy Vasquez starts. That's basically what you're guessing on and pinning on right now, because not that like Marquez had a nice start against the Pirates. Buehler's looked okay, looked good last Friday, But it's hard to throw Buehler, Marquez, or any of these guys out here and feel like, hey, we're getting 7 shutdown innings. That's something you expect from Vasquez, from King, from Pivetta when he's on the mound, or Joe Musgrove. So it really puts a lot of pressure on the bats because, right, if we're nitpicking, I thought last night was really good for the Pods. Like, I give them a lot of credit for that win. That's a good pitching staff. It's a good ball club over there. But the bats are going to have to come alive in these non-Vasquez and King starts, because putting up 3 runs is great when Michael King's out there. Putting up 3 runs when German Marquez is out there, not necessarily going to be the same outcome. So it's an interesting weekend. Hopefully Matt Waldron really kind of comes out on fire and stabilizes the rotation. But yeah, it's concerning. I mean, given the Padres track record, 15 days doesn't usually mean 15 days. Hopefully that's the case, but we don't know.
Our buddy Rich on YouTube says, forget the Vetter Cup. Beating up on a good pitcher like Wu is huge. That is my takeaway from this as well, Rich. It is nice to go 1-0 on the Vetter Cup, but who really cares about that? But beating up on Brian Wu yesterday is massive for the Padres.
That's the most impressive part.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily with power, but they got it done. And Xander Bogaerts 3 RBI. I mean, we'd have killed for that a couple years ago, so good on him. All right, we're going to get to the big 3 here of our number 1. YouTube is open at San Diego Sports 760. Of course, the text line is open like it is every day, 70470. Start your message with the word team.
Should LaMelo have been ejected?
I think he should have, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And of course, listen to us on the free iHeartRadio app. Tap that little plus icon to get us on your presets. That helps us out with the bosses, which means we can do this show forever and ever, which is what we want to do deep into our 70s or 80s at the very least. I mean, advances in modern medicine, to quote Ricky Bobby. Triple digits is not out of reach.
140, 150?
Probably somewhere around there. All right, Sammy, go ahead. Smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
All right, we got a lot to choose from, Sammy. Where are we going?
So we have a lot to get to. So let's start. Are we going to get to LaMelo stuff now or later?
Later. That's next.
Okay.
I got lots of thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm about to say. All right, we're going to hold that.
I think the future is bright.
Text us your thoughts on LaMelo Ball potentially injuring Bam Adebayo. Texas 70.
Like, if you haven't seen it, just type into Twitter or Instagram right now and try to get the slow-mo angle of LaMelo Ball tripping Bam Adebayo.
Texas 70470. Start your message with team. All right. Who has more on the line tonight? We got Clippers and we got the Warriors. Steph or Kawhi? Who has more pressure tonight in this one-off game in the 9-10 spot?
To me, it's Kawhi. I think Steve Kerr kind of tipped his hand a little bit that the Warriors aren't necessarily living or dying on whether or not they win this game. Look, we've seen enough from Steph Curry to know that in whatever minutes he gets tonight, he's going to work his ass off to try to get the win. But when you have Steph and Porzingis, who are the 2 best players on the Warriors right now, both on minutes restrictions, and was Podziemski on a minutes restriction tonight too? I think I saw that.
Is he on a? I'll look it up. I didn't know Podziemski was on one as well. I think I saw that.
I could be wrong on that. I do think that he was as well, but I could be wrong. But if they're both on minute restrictions for tonight, I do think that Steve Kerr kind of tipping his hand that, well, if we lose this, it doesn't really matter because we're not winning in the next round anyways.
Curry, Porzingis, and Horford. So Podziemski's not on a.
Okay, it was Horford. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case and you're taking 3 of the best players on the Warriors and all of them are going to play less than 30 minutes, it's kind of rough for me to see the path forward. Whereas Kawhi Leonard, that just gives you less excuses. You have to go out and win this game, and then you have to put up some sort of fight in the next round.
I'm with you because I think Kawhi has more pressure from a career standpoint. Not that they're going to go beat Oklahoma City, but Curry's done. Like, if Curry ended his career, if tonight was the last game Steph Curry ever played,
first ballot Hall of Famer.
You can make the case best point guard of all time, certainly best shooter of all time. I mean, Steph Curry is secure in what he's done. Now, I will say, I think for this game, who has to be bigger? Curry has to be the best player on the floor. Kawhi could not be the best player on the floor tonight. And with Garland and Mathurin and some of the supporting cast that the Clippers have, they're deeper than the Warriors. No Jimmy Butler, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. Horford's getting up there in age. Porzingis and Curry don't have a great chemistry because they haven't really played that much together. Podziemski's going to have a big night, but they lack a lot of talent. Like Podziemski and Moses Moody not Moses Moody, he's out for the year. But Brandon Podziemski being your other leading scorer, not a shot to Brandon Podziemski, but it kind of shows you the lack of depth that the Warriors have without Jonathan Kuminga. So I think Curry has to have a bigger game for them to win tonight, more pressure to win tonight. But overall, if Curry gets bounced, you're going to go, Butler was hurt, he was hurt, Porzingis, and your point about Kerr, they're all kind of on a minutes restriction. If Kawhi loses this, I think we're seeing, they already shipped James Harden out of town. They got rid of all the vets. Norman Powell. There's a youth movement with Garland and Mathurin. I think Kawhi could be next and on his way out.
Look, man, you guys know me. I like old school basketball. I think Kawhi in college basketball is one of the most exciting college basketball players, definitely, that's ever come through San Diego. But period, some of those matchups with him and Jimmer Fredette were some of the best basketball games I've ever seen in my life. But then when he was with the Spurs, it was like, oh, this young guy has potential to maybe be the greatest defensive player we've ever seen at a guard position. And for him to have the career that he's had, it's been nothing but disappointing in my eyes. He's had the two wonderful, incredible postseason runs. The one he did in Toronto, like nothing we've ever seen. Him taking that team to a championship. But outside of those, the potential for him to like be a top 10 player all time and to not have that happen sucks.
It is funny with Kawhi because he has the 2 rings, one with the Spurs and one with the Raptors. But the Raptors room, we give him a lot of credit, but that Warriors team was completely banged up.
Yeah,
we're missing a lot of pieces, so there's a little bit of caveat there. And then with the Spurs, he was the 4th best player on that team.
Not in that finals, though. He was the best player in the finals. But you're right. That was still Duncan's team. That was still Manu's team. That was still Parker's team.
You know, I'm not taking anything away from Kawhi because he locked down LeBron, so he deserves all the credit for that.
In those finals, he was the best player on the court.
But he wasn't relied to be the offensive juggernaut that he can be because of the amount of talent around him. So I think we look at Kawhi's career as more of not a disappointment, but what could have been, where I don't think we look at that with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
What's
next?
Let's go to the NFL. Per James Palmer, the Jets are looking to take either the linebacker Arvell Reese out of Ohio State at number 2 or David Bailey, the star pass rusher from Texas Tech. Smarter than to go defense. Do you think it's smarter than to go defense, or are you, if you're the Jets, are you looking to trade back considering that's basically where the draft starts because we're presuming that Mendoza's going 1 to the Raiders?
If they had a young quarterback who needed protecting, I would say offensive line needs to be where you start to build. But they have Geno Smith, he's a sacrificial lamb. That's what Geno Smith is with the Jets. Look, this is a full rebuild, and rebuilding starting with defensive line, I would always say is the smart way to go. And Sammy and I were talking before the show, and it's kind of fun that this year it's not the typical big name quarterbacks, big name offensive tackles, big name defensive edge rushers.
Into the first 5 picks.
Like there's a bunch of safeties and outside linebackers in the top 10 of this year's draft. I think that's cool, man. It's a little bit different. I like it. So yeah, I love that. First of all, the Jets just need to take the best player available. And if that's the case, it's probably Jeremiah Love. They don't need to go there because a running back is the best player available. That's not where you start building your team because he's going to get beat up for a couple years. See what's happened with Ashton Janty last year with the Raiders. Starting with outside linebacker, defensive line is the right place for the Jets to go.
I think if you're going to make the pick, yes, get a star pass rusher. I mean, they say you need a star quarterback, you need a star receiver, and you need a star pass rusher. Those are the ingredients to building a winner. But this team is on the tank job, like you said, with Geno. They are trying to they want the number 1 pick where they can select from Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Lenoris Sellers, Mayava. There's a bunch of quarterbacks coming out next year. They're going to have their pick of the litter. So part of me is like, why wouldn't you trade the pick considering the draft is in all likelihood, we're going to get to a story later about the Raiders, which is a little bit interesting, but in all likelihood, going to start at number 2 because we know Mendoza's going 1. I mean, you could get a haul. There are a lot of teams who would be giving up everything to go up there and get the number 1 pass rusher. The Jets aren't a piece away. So normally I'm like, yeah, take David Baylor, take Arvell Reese and get a star on the defense. But it's like that doesn't really help the Jets right now. By the time that player comes up for a new contract, they're just going to be starting to get relevant. So I would be trading back and trying to get as much talent as possible.
I see what you're saying there, but didn't the Giants kind of did this? They got Kayvon Thibodeau a few years ago. And then by the time they were able to sort of fit in pieces around the offense, like all of a sudden we're kind of excited about the Giants.
That's true.
So there is a blueprint to do this. Now, the Giants might suck again this year, right? This plan could be terrible.
Right, but there's something to be excited about in New York with the Giants.
Right. So I do think that there is a little bit of a blueprint. All right, we're going to save it because we're going to LaMelo Ball next. There's already some great texts coming in on this. We have some Heat fans in the chat today. If you would like to jump in, 70470, start your message with team. I don't know that we've seen a play-in game hold this much drama especially 10 minutes after the drama happened, how much bigger that drama got. So get in on the text line. LaMelo Ball, should he have been ejected last night? Of course, he would then go on to hit the game winner last night. We'll give you our thoughts on the other side. 70470. Start your message with the word team. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. Just because I love it, I'm going to keep saying it every day, or at least every time Mason Miller gets into a baseball game. His last 30 appearances, 32.1 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 5 hits allowed, 70 strikeouts. Dude's on a generational
It's crazy
run.
that like the chances of him winning Cy Young, like it's a fun conversation for us.
It keeps growing. I've been watching.
But that's what's cool is that the fact that we're sitting here, even having a conversation.
It's like Yamamoto, Skeens, him. That's the order right now.
The thing that's a bummer, which is why it's probably not going to happen, is because of his limited ability, only getting in for an inning or possibly an inning and a half.
All it takes is one.
Right. If he has one bad out, I mean, one outing where he gets shelled, which is over the course of a 162 game season, there's probably going to be one night.
Yeah. It's really like, say the Padres are in a situation where it's an important game down the stretch and they bring him in the 8th with 2 outs already, but the bases are loaded, and say he gets into a little bit of trouble there and then comes in
they're
the 9th.
Going to point to it.
Yeah. But it's, even though those runs wouldn't be directly responsible to his ERA, if he comes in the 9th and he's a little shell shocked a little bit and bam, home run, there's the problem.
It's like why like Shohei Ohtani, the rumors are he wants to win a Cy Young. This is the one thing he hasn't won. the chances of him being able to do that are so small because the Dodgers are never going to let him, because of how crucial and vital he is to the team with his hitting and as a pitcher, let him have enough starts and put him out there enough and let him go long enough in games to win a Cy Young.
Sure, Shohei. Why don't you go ahead and take that too? Let's go and take everything. All right, a couple texts that have come in today. 619 finally bit the bullet and joined you guys on long shots. And we put up the big donut. 0 for 3. Come on, man.
No.
First of all, 619. I'll defend my boy. 1 for 3.
1 for 3. Tyler Harrow in Miami came through. I hit you on the plus money. I gave you, or not plus money. I gave you on the spread.
Yes.
And by the way, I deserve a little grace coming off a 3-leg winner the day before.
That's the thing. We talked about this yesterday. You don't get credit for wins. No. You only get blamed for losses.
Just so greedy.
All right. Next time Sammy wins, though, can we all help him out a little bit? Can we gas him up a little bit next time we have a winner? Like, because it is kind of funny. It's when he wins, nothing ever positive gets said. When he loses, it's an avalanche.
Ben, I appreciate that. But you know what I like? I like that our listeners expect perfection from me.
Sure.
I like that. I like that that's the standard we've set here for gambling.
719, credit Ty France last night for the good defense. He won the game for us.
Sir.
That sliding play at first, or the diving play at first, was incredible. Ty France is like the best possible defensive first baseman, and the Padres have like 4 options at first base right now. So it's kind of weird. It's almost like there's too many mouths to feed at one position. But Ty France, I would argue, has played the best ball so far at first base between him, Castellanos. Ike Sheets had the walk-off home run, and then Andahar. I don't know what they do with first base. It's tricky. 858. Okay, actually, pause. This is where we're going to get into the conversation. Last night, play-in games. First one up, Charlotte, Miami. Fantastic game from the jump. I mean, these teams were playing their asses off. The refs let a ton go. That was as physical I've seen a game in the NBA for quite some time. What are we pointing at?
I have sound.
Okay. We'll get to it. But this was really, really great right off the jump. Heat's making shots all over the place. Charlotte is making shots all over the place. Colby White, my God, the guard from North Carolina.
How the Bulls let him go is beyond me.
He was a killer last night. And so this game is back and forth. It's crazy. But in the first 10 minutes of the game, there was a play, and Bam Adebayo had already been cooking a little bit. I think he was 3 for 3 from the field. But Bam Adebayo goes up for a layup, kind of gets blocked. Everyone's sort of falling to the ground at the same time. LaMelo's falling too. And then as Bam is falling backwards, LaMelo grabs his heel, and you could see it on the slow-mo video, and pushes up, sending Bam a little bit higher in the air and dropping Bam right on his keister. And he was down immediately. He was flat. You could tell this was some pain, man. If you've ever fallen on your tailbone hard, you know what that is. And he was down. And he may have fractured something, man. He went down hard. So Bam Adebayo immediately is sent to the locker room. And the announcers on the desk, I think it was Ian Eagle, was saying generally in a situation like this, when someone gets hurt and there's a little extra time, even if there's no suspicion right away that there was any sort of flagrant or anything, they'll take a look at it because there's a few seconds where the player's going to have to go to the locker room. They don't take a look at it at all. 5 minutes later, we get the slow-mo replay. This was on purpose. It was obvious. Like LaMelo grabbed him by the heel, like where the Achilles is kind of, and pushed up hard.
It looked like it was a moment of anger because he fell on the floor and then just reached out and grabbed him. So I don't know if he was set out to be, I'm going to rip Bam's ACL or something, like a lot of people are making out to be today, but it certainly looked like he reached back, was frustrated how the play happened, and tried to swipe him out. We know that that's one of the most dangerous injuries there is because your leg goes, your ACL, and it's a problem.
It was bad. Now the game plays out the way it played out. LaMelo was tremendous for the majority of the game, and he ends up hitting the game-winning layup in overtime, even though he was the only reason why the Heat were even in position to potentially win that game because he fouled the three-point shooter. But LaMelo was tremendous, and now the conversation after the game was Eric Spoelstra kind of saying, "Look, man, I don't like it. You have this sound, Sammy?"
Yep.
Let's hear from Spo.
I don't think it's funny. I think it's a stupid play. It's a dangerous play. Obviously, our best player is out. I'm not making an excuse. The Hornets played great, and they made those plays down the stretch. We had our opportunities to win. I just, that's a shame. He should be penalized for that. I don't think that belongs in the game. Tripping guys, shenanigans, and Curtis was there. It's his responsibility to see that. And if it's not his responsibility, then Zach's got to see it. If, somebody has got to see that, and that, he should have been thrown out of the game, for that.
LaMelo, it kind of looked like on film that you might have grabbed his leg. I mean, did you intentionally grab his leg?
I haven't even seen. Like I said, I got hit in the head. Didn't even know where I was. But yeah, just playing basketball. But like I said, sorry, and I'm gonna check on him.
I'm gonna check on him.
858 texting in says 10,000% a flagrant foul on Melo, and he traveled at the end of the game. Shot, and they missed a backcourt on him. Refs need to be held accountable. 615, as a Miami Heat fan, I realistically know they barely stood a chance to get out of the first round, but still, last night was heartbreaking to lose that way. And I used to believe that karma was real until I saw what LaMelo did to our best player and then winds up getting the game-winning layup for his team. It's a rough look, man. Well, the NBA is investigating it today. There is a potential that they still have to play another playing game, right?
Right. Well, they gotta beat the winner or the loser of Orlando and Philly tonight.
Yeah. So there's a potential LaMelo may not be available for that game because of this incident.
I think this is a prime example of when LaMelo, if that game was in Miami, I think he's thrown out
easily.
Because the fact that that's in Charlotte, you saw how much it meant to the fans. They were something like 0-9 in their last elimination.
That place was
games.
rocking. It was a great environment.
I mean, so it's a bummer that to 615's point, the Heat played really well, and I like how Eric Spoelstra handled that. Credit to the Heat for the use their best player and Harrow and Davion Mitchell and these guys picked up the slack and didn't let the game get out of hand. But it is kind of crazy that wasn't investigated, and to lose a one-off play-in March Madness type feel game because your star player gets his leg swiped out from underneath him and you're not even looking at it. Yeah, if I was a Miami Heat fan, I would be very frustrated today.
SD Fight Night tickets coming up very soon, but coming up next, Tony Sanchez, old buddy's going to be stopping by the show. We'll talk some SDFC and other things with Tony coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport sponsored by Summit Racing Equipment. Padres pick up a nice victory over the Seattle Mariners last night. Game 2 tonight. Emerson Hancock going for Seattle and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. That game will be at 6:40. Padres are a slight favorite at -115 on the money line. NBA play-in continues tonight. Magic Sixers in the first one in Philly. Philly's a 1.5 point favorite in that game at 4:30. And Steph battling Kawhi nightcap in Los Angeles. Clippers are favored by 5.5 in that one. It's Car Care Month. And Summit Racing is what you need for bumper-to-bumper care. Revive the interior, exterior, and under hood, and more. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 3rd, 2026.
SDFC back on the road Saturday night. They got Real Salt Lake. Our coverage with Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith will begin at 6 o'clock right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Speaking of SDFC, someone I got a lot of respect for, man. Tony Sanchez started a podcast from nothing, got things going, had the timing exactly right. Now 2 balls and a mic is wildly successful, partially because San Diego, we got our pro team, our MLS team here in town. Tony Sanchez, it's been too long, pal. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good, and thank you for those words off the top of the show as well, man. It's been a while, and a lot of the success is thanks to you, Fletch, and just what you've also grown into it. So it's good to see you also coming in onto your own, man.
You the man. Tony Sanchez joining us here. So Tony, before we get too far into this, let's look at the obvious here. It's SDFC had such a wildly successful year 1 in MLS, and then year 2, at least the way it's going over the last couple of weeks, they're hitting their first kind of speed bumps. Obviously, they've had internal drama. I mean, Chucky Lozano is a thing, and he's not with the program anymore. But kind of the first stretch of losing and draws and not being able to find a win, plus a bunch of red cards along the way. What are you seeing that's going wrong with the team?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of compounding factors where you look at the way that the season started. There's another tournament that plays against Mexican teams in the CONCACAF Champions League, and that had SDFC coming back early, about 3 weeks early from their off season. And so they had to get things going, and they had to be at game speed much quicker than they normally would have and gotten that rest. And so they performed well. They played some intense games. They went into altitude into Mexico and got some good looks, but then starting the regular MLS season, now you're kind of backtracking and your preseason were actually live games. So a lot of the players right now are on injury, and it's definitely affecting the way that the team is coming out to play because they have such a specific way of playing that every single piece of the 11 is crucial to have at 100% on the field.
We look back, a couple weeks ago, taking on Real Salt Lake. It was a 2-2 draw. McVay got a red card late in that one. They're taking on Salt Lake later this week. What do you kind of take from that game? Was the deciding factor in the draw the fact that McVay got the red card, even though it was later? What can we take from that first game that we're looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, that first game was San Diego FC, again, just trying to come back and put the pieces back together. They're not necessarily at full strength. Chris McVay does get that red card, one of his 3 red cards in the season already. SDFC on pace to break the record of 8 total red cards in the season for FC Dallas. But in that game specifically, you faced a RSL team with Salt Lake coming in hot. They had 3 games that were victorious, and they got a stop here at Snapdragon with San Diego FC really coming into their own and coming off of a bounce back from having lost in Toluca in Mexico for 4-0. So there's a lot of dynamic players on Salt Lake. They're a really well-coached team, and San Diego FC, again, is trying to find that balance between the style that they've already established and growing, because the one thing that they had last year that made them successful is they were unknowns. Not a lot of people knew what to expect, but now there's a whole year of game film that coaches are smartening up a little bit to Mikey Vadas' style, and the onus is on San Diego FC to find that dynamic layers within the style that you're going to go ahead and be over and over again.
The easiest way it was described to me is like year 2 quarterbacking in the NFL, where its teams start to figure out a little bit of the film, and that's why you see that sophomore slump so often in the NFL. Tony Sanchez joining us at sandiego.football on all social media. You can listen to him on 2 balls and a mic, as well as the Chromaniacs, which does post-game coverage of every SDFC match if you want to find him there on YouTube and on X. But Tony, when you're looking at SDFC, they got one of the bright up-and-coming stars in Luca Bambino. We got to have him on the show a couple weeks ago now. How high is the ceiling for this kid? He's 19 years old. That's crazy.
I mean, the ceiling is definitely Europe. And I think for people who are trying to get into the soccer verse, Europe is a lot of the goals of most soccer players around the world to make it into a team over there. And he has that potential to make that jump and be part of the future of the U.S. men's national team. But he's so young, and he's part of the squad that has one of the youngest averages of players age-wise. But Luca Bambino himself is a very mature, composed kid. Actually, listen to that interview that you had him, and you can kind of listen to him and just see how focused he is. And that's just the philosophy that goes into San Diego FC's players. And it's just a holistic approach to have a player be a complete professional on and off the field. And for Luca Bambino, like, he's going to go ahead and have a great career if everything goes right for him. And there's already talks of having teams in Europe looking for him and having to transfer as early as last year. So this is a kid that has a talent, but he's one of the many bright stars here at San Diego FC.
World Cup obviously coming to the States here in month and a half, 2 months. But the U.S. men's national team, doesn't play well against Belgium, 5-2, loses to Portugal 2-0. What do you make of this team heading into the World Cup? Is this a speed bump because the friendlies, or like, how would you say Pochettino, the new manager, has really kind of come in, and like, how would you say he's done so far and heading into the World Cup?
Yeah, Pochettino is tinkering a little bit with what he has. The national team is such a wide berth of players and talent that you have to select a certain amount. And from that, you have to try to move pieces and put the exact 11 that you have. For right now, it's not looking too good with the results that you're facing, especially with these two teams World Cup bound that you just faced and lost to. But I wouldn't worry too much about the U.S. men's national team in the group stages, because when it comes to a tournament, anything can happen in the tournament. Just like March Madness will have those Cinderella stories. You'll have teams that came up out of nowhere and some teams that really play up or down to the competition. I think the U.S. men's national team will be fine. They will make it out of their group. And I mean, out of their 12 World Cup appearances, going back all the way to Uruguay 1930, they've made it to the semifinals, and that's again back in the day for sure. But this team is one that has the backing, has a vision to move forward. But are they going to go ahead and be World Cup champions? I wouldn't put my money on that right now.
T, why is the World Cup banning tailgating? This seems like the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So, I mean, there was some clarification from FIFA after reports did come out that they were banning tailgating across. But FIFA did come out and they did say that they don't have a formal policy on restricting tailgating, that they're going to look towards the local authorities to see what they do. Long story short, instead of having 10,000 parking spots, they're going to go ahead and have 5,000 parking spots, because everything else is going to be activations and FIFA-oriented events that you pay for. So yes and no, they're not necessarily banning it, but they're very much restricting the amount of space that's happening at these stadiums. Lincoln Financial Field actually came out and said, you know what? We're part of the party's part of what brings a sports town together. And we're going to go ahead and have our party and have our tailgating regardless of what's happening. But it's going to be a matter of stadium per stadium to see what those regulations are going to be.
Hell yeah, Philly. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm curious, when you look at the World Cup overall, mention the U.S. maybe numbered on how far they can go. What's a sleeper team? We know, like Spain, France, England, all the top teams that are part of the favorites. What's a team that you look at that could go on a little bit of a Cinderella run for all of us gamblers out there?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for that Cinderella run, I look at, Portugal. Portugal's a team that definitely has the talent. They have a much, much older Cristiano Ronaldo in that team that, they're a team that's trying to get him his World Cup run. In a tournament style, it's very interesting because in the group stages, you can definitely play to tie and not necessarily win all your games, and you can still make it across. But Portugal does have that talent, and they have the want to go ahead and match Cristiano Ronaldo with Messi, because Messi did get his World Cup last time around in Qatar with Argentina.
Tony, you're the man. I don't know. I know you're all soccer in now and football is life, but you still watching your pods?
Yeah, man. I'm watching the pods. I'm enjoying what's been happening the last couple of games. Those first couple of games, an opening day, it just happens. It's a long season, much longer than soccer, but I will say the Padres are looking good, and I'm very looking forward to getting out there this season.
Right on, brother. Well, you have a great day. Thank you for coming on. Again, you can follow him, 2 Balls and a Mic on YouTube, at sandiego.football on all social media. Find him there. Tony Sanchez, you're the man.
Thank you.
All right, there he goes, Tony Sanchez. This goes way back, man. When it was me and Judson Richards and Mike Costa in the morning, Tony used to call in at 6:45 and give us the soccer update, and we had so much fun with that. So it's awesome to see what Tony's doing now. Great to talk to him. Can't wait to have him back very, very soon. It's San Diego Sports 760. We know that the text line does not like it when Sammy loses a bet.
I don't like it either, man. I'm riding along. I let my bank account. I
went 2 units last night. That was a big one. I really had faith.
You know what made me the most frustrated?
Tell me.
I believe in the Anaheim Ducks. That was a mistake. I'll take full ownership of that. All right. So
he sent me last night. He said, "Quack quack, mother effer."
Yeah, Anaheim Ducks. We put faith in you. No, and then. I talked myself into Phoenix. I told everyone on air yesterday. I was like,
didn't I say you were going Portland and then you switched it?
I said the world is going to get to know Danny Advia tonight. And then I fell into the value of Phoenix, but Phoenix does not have a front court. I should have known that. Donovan Clingan outplayed Mark Williams. So
what's the best news about betting?
There's always tomorrow.
There's always today. Long Shots is coming up next at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. We are just about a week away from one of the best weeks in East County, San Diego. It's the Lakeside Rodeo, the premier rodeo of Southern California. My wife and I love it. We've been volunteering out there for years. We will be out there again this year every single time. It's an absolute blast. Mostly because they haven't kicked us out yet, but we love the Lakeside Rodeo, man. It's going on next Thursday through Sunday, the April 23rd through the 26th. The Lakeside Rodeo grounds will turn into 4 straight days of top tier rodeo action. I'm talking bull riding, steer wrestling, rodeo queens, and yes, there are plenty of activities for the kiddos like kid stick horse races. Get on out there for the 62nd annual Lakeside Rodeo. Fun, affordable, perfect for the whole family. Ways for you to get involved. And it supports the El Capitan Stadium Association, a nonprofit that's going to give back to the local youth out in Lakeside. So dust off those boots, grab the family and experience it for yourself. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Make sure you swing by the concession stands. I don't know what day we're going to be out there yet, but I promise you I will be pouring beer on one of those days. So get your tickets now at lakesiderodeo.com. That is lakesiderodeo.com. We will see you out there, lakesiderodeo.com. I was so close just now to throw in some cash on Scotty Scheffler to win the RBC Heritage.
Scotty, a little frustrated Scotty.
Yeah, it's
missing the birdie on 17.
It sets up so well. Like you got a pissed off Scotty going to the next tournament right after the Masters. You know he's gonna want to get some get back.
Is Rory's not playing in this, right?
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, he's popping bottles all throughout.
Odds are terrible on Scotty Scheffler. You like 4x your money before a golf tournament. Like that is Tiger Woods, by the way. That's what he was. It was like the Tiger or the field bet was so popular for a long time. It's silly to even put money on Scotty right now.
Do we see a Justin Rose too depressed after not coming through last week?
I don't know if he's going to even play. Xander I saw was a really good bet this week. Xander's at 16x.
Is Aberg playing?
Aberg's playing.
Well, he was hot on Sunday. He just got too far back on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Russell Henley had a really good Sunday. He's up there. If I'm going with anyone, I'm going with Xander, but I would almost want to just top 10 bet him. So I don't know. I might stay away from the RBC in general.
Betting golf. Golf is like quickly becoming one of my favorite things to bet because it's like these side bets, the plus money value you can get.
Sure.
And if you're on Kalshi, this is a little gambling secret. If you're on Kalshi, you place some good odds like Fletch is talking about before the tournament. Then all of a sudden the value goes up. You're selling, making profit on Saturday. You go different bet, but you're just making profit.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Gambling's fun. That's why it's so bad for you, but we love it. So
it's only bad if you lose.
Well, it's still fun. Yeah, you're invested. It makes sport watching so much more fun. Like it keeps you so much more invested. That's what's great about it. You could have a Roth IRA, sure. You could be a nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. I think Sammy has one too.
Loser. But, Roth IRA.
Yeah. Who does
Roth
that?
IRA?
Yeah, Roth IRA. Who is that? Is that what you called it for a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I until about 2 seconds ago, I thought it was a Roth IRA. So I have one. I set one up.
We're going shalom skiing with our Roth IRA savings. What is this NPR? You talking IRA Glass over here?
I wasn't in the finance classes in San Diego State.
Sure. All right. Well, why don't we get to long shots, which is the financial class we put on every single day here.
Look at that.
Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Say that to me and his man.
With long shots.
You did not think it was Roth
IRA. Roth IRA.
All right, Sammy.
Roth IRA. Hey, you should get one though.
Independently directed retirement account.
It's good for it's good. Well, I'm not. I have one. Listen, the money is still still appreciating whether I know how to pronounce it or not. Okay. And guess what? When we hit here tonight, you can invest some money back in your Roth IRA. Be good for the future.
Sure. All right, where are we going?
All right. We're doing a baseball pick, and then we're going to the association. Baseball pick tonight. We had success on Monday night betting on this matchup. Cubbies taking on the Phillies. Jesus Luzardo, Shota Imanaga. Two talented pitchers. Now, Imanaga was supposed to be the ace of this rotation a couple years ago. Imanaga got kind of prone to the home run ball last year and was kind of ate up at times. Now, the Cubs rotation has gone through a lot of injuries. They're in the market for Lucas Giolito, just like the Padres, because both teams that have higher aspirations than just making the playoffs, but they need another starter. Imanaga, though, Jesus Luzardo, really underrated pitcher. I know he's had a rough start to the year. He's 1-2 with a 6.23 ERA, but Jesus Luzardo is a very talented pitcher. Christopher Sanchez gets the headlines for the Phillies, and I think we're overcorrecting here because of the last 2 days. This open as 8 runs. It has now been bet up to 9. So I like the under here. Yesterday, Cubs won 10-4. The day before, Phillies beat the Cubs 13-7. We bet the over in that game. Tonight, I think there's a little bit of a calm down. We're getting a full run of value. The fact that they're opening it at 8 is telling you something because Imanaga and Luzardo's pitching, but the casual bettors are just betting the over because of what they saw the last couple nights. Give us the under. Jesus Luzardo, Shota Imanaga, more of a pitching duel tonight in Philly. All right, we're heading to the association.
Are you able to set a combo right now?
On Kalshi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Is it not working? Well, I'll check in a second.
Yeah, screenshot afterwards.
All right. Magic Sixers. This is a fun game.
There's some weird ticker going across the top of the screen. If they take this away from us, I am not going to be happy.
Call your Call your lawmakers.
I know what's going on.
Get
here.
it legal.
Talk to Congress one time.
Talk to Congress. Yeah, come on. Maybe we'll do a live election show just for sports gambling.
We could start picketing.
Yes, we'll go on Kogo. We're gonna make our pitch. All right, Magic and the Sixers. This is a fun playing game. I'm actually really excited for this game tonight because two teams that have upside in the Eastern Conference, and I actually think getting the 7 seed in the Eastern Conference is worse than getting the 8 seed because the 8 seed you get to play the Pistons. Now the Pistons play an excellent brand of defense. Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart. There's so much talent on that team. Asar Thompson, but the winner of this game actually gets the Celtics. So not that someone's going to be trying to lose this game. They want to get in the playoff field, but the Celtics feel like a much harder matchup with Jason Tatum back than the Pistons do. But in terms of the Magic and the Sixers, now there's been some big swings on this line. So Orlando dropped. They lost to the Celtics last weekend. The Celtics weren't playing anybody. Baylor Shireman at something like 20, 30 points, something like that, and beat the Orlando Magic, which allowed the Toronto Raptors to stay out of the play-in. They'll be matching up against Cleveland and the Atlanta Hawks, and Orlando dropped. Orlando opened as a 1.5-point road favorite against Philly. Road favorite against Philly. It has been bet to where Philly is now a 1.5-point favorite, but we're going to stay away from that. The point total opened at 220.5. It has been bet all the way up 4 points to 224.5, and it just came down to 223.5. Give us the under in this game. Look, I get it. Philly, Orlando, we're seeing a little bit of an overreaction on the betting markets because Joel Embiid is not there. He's hurt. He has that, I believe, appendicitis, and is sick for this game. He's out for the foreseeable future. They still have Andre Drummond to kind of man the paint. Wendell Carter Jr. is a very solid big for the Orlando Magic. I see Maxey going back and forth with Banchero in a duel. There's very talented guard spots, but this team kind of cancels each other out because Kelly Oubre, BJ Edgecombe, they have some decent defenders for Philly, even though the team as a whole doesn't play great defense, is going to be able to match up well against the Magic with Anthony Black, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. Too big of an overreaction. Give us the under 223.5, getting some value in Vegas. All right, Warriors Clippers. This is a tough game to pick. Because you have Steve Kerr talking about Porzingis, Curry, Horford are all on minutes restrictions. I don't know how much I believe that. Like, honestly, if this is a close game, I doubt they're actually pulling Steph Curry in it. I believe that they would like to get this under 30 minutes played. But the line open is a minus 3.5-point favorite for the Clippers. It's been bet up to 5.5. So the value is with Golden State. I am going to roll with the Clippers. Minus 5.5, even though the public is on this. I'm going to roll with that because some of the news coming out of the Warriors camp, I don't know if the Warriors have enough pieces to stay in this game. If Curry and these guys are on a minutes restriction, they're going to try to get them out of the game early. I think they will end up going over their minutes restriction because this game will be close. But frankly, the Clippers just have more scores. Ben Mathurin, Kawhi Leonard has much more to prove tonight than Steph Curry. We got into that earlier. Darius Garland has quietly been excellent since coming over for the Clips. And the Warriors really don't have the weakness of the Clippers is that they don't have a center with Zubac on. And the Warriors, I don't believe that Porzingis coming off an injury as well as Al Horford are going to be able to take advantage of that. Curry and Porzingis don't have a lot of chemistry, haven't really played together very much. And I just don't think they have the scoring options on the wing to be able to keep up with the Clippers. So even though the public is on this, I like the Clippers minus 5.5. Clippers minus 5.5. We got Philly and Orlando on the under 223.5 or 224.5, whatever you get it at right there. And I like the under on Cubs and Phillies tonight, under 9 runs.
All right, I like it. I couldn't place it, but send me a screenshot and hopefully I can place it a little bit later.
Okay.
All right, couple things happening around the world of sports, kind of in our periphery here. Do you know, like the new Pac-12, they're all meeting this week up in Oregon, and there's a ton of questions to be asked. So I think at 1:15, I would like to do this thing, like of the biggest questions facing the new Pac-12, what do we want to see happen? Like a venue for the Pac-12 championship in basketball. Where do we want that to be at? Because they currently don't have a venue. The bowl games that will be available to the new Pac-12 teams. What should they be? What's the best case scenario for everybody involved in the new Pac-12? I like these questions are becoming a reality right now because, dude, the season starts pretty soon and they've been so hammered down on the TV deal and figuring out what teams are going to be in that some of these big questions haven't been answered yet. So they're working on answering them as we speak. But what would we like to see happen? I think that's kind of fun. Plus, we got some NFL draft stories to get to. Of course, we got the Padres, who are on a 6-game heater right now, man. Can they keep this thing going? It's the best hot streak in baseball. What's been the spawn of it? We'll tell you on the other side at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
Sports sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres pick up a win yesterday with Michael King on the mound. Be back against the Mariners, same time, same place at Petco with Randy Vasquez going. NBA play-in tournament also continues tonight. 7th and 8th place game in the East. The winner will take on Boston. Magic taking on the Sixers. Philly is a 1.5 point favorite in that game. And the Warriors are in Los Angeles taking on the Clippers. The Clippers are a 5.5 point favorite in that one. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
I'm excited about it. It brings a lot of people together.
Now, live from the East Set studios of San Diego Sports 760, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Let's get it going. Hour number 2, San Diego Sports 760. One of the best prizes we've ever had on this show, man. It's Fight Night in San Diego. You're going to get those tickets coming up very, very soon. This Saturday, April 18th, Front Wave Arena up in Oceanside, sdfightnight.com to buy tickets. We got them for you, a pair of them coming up within the next 30 minutes. Do not go anywhere or touch that radio dial or switch that iHeartRadio app or turn off our page on YouTube. You're stuck with us for at least another 30 minutes. You hear me? All right, it is San Diego Sports 760, and we were just talking about the RBC Heritage coming up this week and picking out some golfers that we might want to throw some cash on. 858 says, why are you guys hiding from my new favorite golfer, Tyrell Hatton, Ben Fletcher's English twin?
You do look like Tyrell Hatton.
I know. I haven't. 858 sent this in 4 or 5 times in the last week and a half, and just because of where we were in the show, I haven't read it, so I apologize, 858. But my wife said the same thing on Sunday while we were watching the Masters. She was like,
hey,
a
little side by side.
That guy looks like a buffer version of you with bigger ears. So thank you, 858.
How'd that make you feel?
Not great. Not great. When I was literally watching the Masters hung over,
like Tyrell Hatton,
curled up in bed. He's just a white guy with a beard who's a little bigger than average. That's all he is. Is that all I am to you, Sammy? Just a white guy with a beard?
Do you want the truth or do you want me to lie?
Lie.
No.
But Tyrell Hatton's great, man.
That's Ben Fletcher right there.
I don't know if you saw him on day one of the Masters, but he hit a shot that bounced off of the pin and went into the bunker, went off the Augusta green. And instead of, like throwing his hat or something, he gave the English flip off. This one, bah, right to the green. It was
Didn't
great.
he get fined for that or something?
No, that was Robert McIntyre who actually flipped off the green at Augusta.
I'll go play golf and I'm nothing special at golf and I'm not even keeping score, but
sure.
I'll be losing my mind flipping off the course. Like I couldn't imagine being a professional golfer with millions of dollars in the line at Augusta,
hitting the shot of your life, hitting like the shot of your life, hitting it off the flagstick and having it roll into a bunker.
Like that would,
brutal.
Yeah. I mean, I love golf. It's a very stuffy sport, so they're not going to go for stuff like that, but that would be fun. Like we need to embrace more of the TPC Scottsdale.
Well, that's kind of what Liv was trying to do, and Liv is on the verge of being shut down, according to some reports. Like today, There's meetings going on in New York.
How about the Liv guys not playing well on the tour?
I mean, that's something. It's like Brooks is playing okay, but yeah, John Rahm playing like terrible at the Masters. No one saw that coming, especially me. So there's something to it, man. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We'll get back to the Padres in just a minute. I do want to spend some more time on this game last night in the NBA because it sort of sucks that the storyline has just become about LaMelo Ball and what happened between him and Bam Adebayo. Because my God, that was a good game. Like the way Colby White took over kind of close to halftime last night. And then again in the third quarter, he was
they looked done with like a couple minutes to go. The Hornets looked like they were going to go home.
Right. And then in overtime, how about Hornet jumping out to a little bit of a lead? The Heat scratching all the way back. And then, of course, what happened with LaMelo Ball fouling the 3-point shooter for Miami, getting down by 1 point. And then LaMelo takes it for the layup on the other end. Tremendous basketball game. The storyline, though, is all about LaMelo Ball flipping Bam Adebayo upside down and having him land on his tailbone. Now, here's what I'll say. And I was talking to TD about this earlier today over on the KGB show. I think that the NBA in like 3 years, maybe even less than that, maybe 2 years, is going to be tremendous. But they need to get the LeBron and Steph and KD storylines out of the league. Because look at what we have coming down the pike. Like Cade Cunningham, bona fide star. Jalen Brunson, star. LaMelo Ball, love him or hate him, the dude's got star power, and I think he could be the villain of the next era of the NBA. Anthony Edwards, star. Luka, star. You have them all over the place. They just need to get the spotlight.
Right. The NBA is at a weird impasse where you still have guys like LeBron, Curry, Durant playing at a high level, so they're not done yet. I mean, they're all in the playoffs. Warriors playing tonight, and the Lakers and KD and LeBron are going up against each other, but
they're all on big teams. Whereas some of these younger stars are kind of wasting away.
Well, that's what. So there's so much has been made about like where will Team USA go? Because LeBron and Curry and Durant and these guys have kind of different iterations of the team, but have carried the team, been the focal points of the team for a long time now. We've seen obviously the game blowing up with Luka and Wemby and Jokic overseas. I mean, Shea from Canada. There's so many talented guys that aren't just coming from the States anymore. But I think there was this narrative like the LA Olympics. People are like, oh, this is going to be a really evenly matched, like tournament. But a lot of the American stars, you mentioned Cade Cunningham, LaMelo Ball, small market. Tyrese Halliburton, small market. Anthony Edwards, small market. A lot of the American stars are playing for small market teams, and I don't think people have appreciated, even like Detroit, Cade Cunningham, not the biggest market. I mean, you're talking about if Cade Cunningham or LaMelo Ball played for the Knicks or the Lakers or the Miami Heat, I mean, they would be already one of the faces of the NBA. So I think American basketball actually is in better hands than people give them credit for. But I think that the maybe casual fan doesn't tune into the playoffs, not paying attention to the Pacers or not paying attention to the Hornets. And last night was an opportunity for people to really put a guy like Con Knipple, even though he didn't play well, LaMelo Ball and guys like that on the map.
LaMelo Ball is going to be a villain. Like dumbass tattoos. I say what come on. The red cross on the neck. Like what are we doing, LaMelo? You're a handsome guy. You don't need the entire body. You don't need to go Post Malone. But LaMelo Ball is going to be like a stud. And the way he plays, kind of jerky. I can't remember exactly what I texted you last night, Sammy, but I probably can't say it on
air. I'm going to say, I wouldn't read that one.
But he is just like, that's the way he plays, but he's also a stud. And the dude doesn't set his feet taking 3-pointers.
Do you think LaMelo's unlikable because of the family name or because the LaMelo Ball is unlikable?
I actually think he's done a pretty good job of separating himself from the Ball family drama that was with his dad being LeVar Ball, being kind of a crazy person and forcing all three of his kids into this. But like Lonzo did a decent job of stepping away. LaMelo's done an even better job. He's sort of making his own brand, and the way he plays, that's marketable as hell, man. And I think that there's a bright future with him, even if he is playing like kind of the heel of the NBA. But then the other guys like Anthony Edwards is so easy to root for. Tyrese Halliburton is so easy to root for.
And look at all those guys. Something that I think left the game for a few years, and we see it crop up in the playoffs. But a lot has been made, and baseball's the same way. Guys are working out together in the offseason. They're playing on Olympic teams. It's not like it was in the 90s where the Bulls and the Pistons hated each other. And when they saw each other, like there was no, we're shaking hands. Like, I hate that dude. And so there's been this kind of friendly among stars for the last kind of decade or so. And it's fun that we're kind of seeing like Anthony Edwards talks a lot of crap. Halliburton talks a lot of crap on the Knicks. I mean, Trae Young was kind of that for a minute. LaMelo Ball. It's fun that that's kind of coming back. Luka talks a lot. That's fun because it creates rivalries, among players and rivalries among teams. I don't like Dillon Brooks, but a player like Dillon Brooks is good for the game because he's instigating, and people are like either love Dillon Brooks or they hate Dillon Brooks. There's not a lot of in between, and that's fun that that's kind of back in the NBA now.
It's nice that Colby White's on that team because I had an easier time going for the Hornets last night for a little bit, even though that wasn't our bet. But like it was Colby White makes it fun to watch.
He's a great player.
He's amazing, man. The way that when he banked in the three and then one play later last night, there was a turnover by the Heat and he just stepped up and knocked in another one. That was a wildly fun game to watch, which that's first time I've said that about an NBA game this year. So congratulations, Hornets and Heat. You got me. All right, we're going to get to the big three here in just a second. Back to the Padres. We will go at 1:15. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
And I know Amazon had that issue at the end of game one. I didn't really get to watch game two, but it went off fine.
I didn't know if that was just me or not.
No, it was everybody. It was a problem last night. But I will say, the Amazon desk with Taylor Rooks and Blake Griffin, it's a good desk. They do a good job.
Were you more excited to see Taylor Rooks or Blake Griffin?
I think Blake Griffin was more excited to see Taylor Rooks. I think everybody was. Even my wife was like, who is that?
Very beautiful woman.
Stunning. Where are we going?
Let's go to the NFL draft. We are almost there, a little bit over a week away. Super stoked for it.
Week and a day.
John Spytek, though, the Raiders GM says teams have inquired about the number one draft pick, spoke on this, said, quote, if there's a player that stands out that we feel it's not worth losing, it's not even worth picking up the phone. Then we'll just make the pick. But if it's a player that we're not as excited about, or there's a group of players that we would love to pick from, if we can get value for that, we're certainly open to listening to that.
You hear that? That's the sound of the smoke grenade that Spytek just threw. This is all smoke, man. They're taking Fernando Mendoza. This is locked in. I don't love that he said this, to be honest. If I'm Fernando Mendoza, I'm like, what the hell was that about? Maybe a player that we're not super stoked on. They're taking Fernando Mendoza. That's happening. I would say this is a non-story, but I think that what Spytek is trying to do is make it so everybody's kind of on their heels and seeing if there is a absolutely out of the water, over the moon offer that comes in at the last second. I think it would take a heaven and earth type offer for Spytek and the Raiders to move off of Mendoza. Not to say it's impossible. I mean, they do have Kirk Cousins locked up for 4 or 5 years. Like, it's not impossible, but I highly, highly doubt it. Now, I will say Spytek is the coolest name a GM has ever had.
See, I'm actually different. I love that he said this.
You got nothing on Spytek being the coolest name a general manager has ever had?
Yeah, that's cool name. But I think GMs make such a mistake when they don't play their cards close to the vest. When it's like it's not available for trade. Hell yeah, anything is available for trade. Unless it is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and I guess Joe Burrow's had a massive injury history. Lamar, you can throw in that category. There's certain guys that you would like. The Chiefs are not picking up the phone on Mahomes. The Bills are not picking up the phone on Josh Allen. Doesn't matter how many picks you throw at them, they're not going to answer. But Fernando Mendoza, this is all based on projection. So when we get to the NFL draft, yes, Fernando Mendoza looks like a franchise quarterback, looks like he could be, Vegas fans are excited about him and finally looking to have a franchise guy. But in a draft next year that is supposed to be loaded, loaded with talent, Arch Manning and Dante Moore, just to name a few, at the top. And you're already a team that has a lot of talent around you with Genty and Bowers. You got Crosby back, had a really nice free agency. Linderbaum, Nakobe Dean. I mean, like Quay Walker, if the Jets gave you everything, if the Jets gave you the next 3-4 drafts to get this guy, like the fact that you're keeping this open, I think is smart. Now, they're going to take Mendoza. The chances of them trading this pick are slim to none.
What would it take? 3 first round?
I think if the Jets called and were like, we'll give you our next 3 years worth of first round picks.
Well, Jets are one of the teams that have 2 first round picks this year. So would it take this year's 2 and next year's 1, or this year's 2 and the next 2 years?
I'd want future. I would want as many picks as possible next year. So if I want Arch Manning, if I want Dante Moore, Maeva, Sellers, whoever it is, that's my quarterback. Because a lot has been made about, like, I don't want to take anything away from Mendoza, because Mendoza won a Heisman, won a championship with Indiana. Like, he deserves all the credit in the world. But if Arch Manning was in this draft class, NFL scouts say he would be going above him. So it's kind of like, is Mendoza that good, or is there a lack of quarterback talent? So, and the Raiders need a quarterback, which is surefire, you're going to go with Mendoza.
There's lots of questions. I don't think the Raiders are moving, though. What's next?
Let's actually stick with quarterbacks, but go different. Per ESPN, quarterback Ty Simpson is visiting with the Cardinals. Steelers are also hosting Penn State quarterback Drew Aller. If we assume Mendoza's going 1 to the Raiders in all likelihood, are we in for a surprise quarterback pick in the first round on draft night? Teams that have been linked to quarterbacks: Jets, Steelers, Cardinals, all the teams I just mentioned.
See, that's the thing. Most of those teams have already made moves to bring in other plans at quarterback. Like, it feels like most teams outside of the Raiders, which even they brought in Kirk Cousins, but have their quarterback plans set up for next year already. Like, Geno Smith has already basically named the starter in New York. Kyler Murray has already basically named the starter in Minnesota. We'll see. But so it feels like everybody's sort of made the right moves. I guess the Steelers would be the one team that's a question mark, but it certainly seems like, even if they're not saying it, Aaron Rodgers is going to be back with them next year. So I don't envision anybody in the first round is going to step up to take him, because it doesn't seem like there's any pressure to take one of them in the first round. It feels like they will both fall to the second for you. And if you're going to believe all the mock drafters out there, Mel Kiper came out with his newest today, neither of them are sniffing the first round. So I just don't know if I see it.
Yeah, it's tough because on draft night, a lot of these teams have multiple picks. So if you're sitting there and you think Ty Simpson is the guy, I don't see it as much that they have quarterbacks in place. It's going to keep them from taking them. Like, Geno Smith or Aaron Rodgers should never keep you from taking a quarterback, considering Rodgers' age and Geno's downturn of his career. But it does feel like, again, kind of like Mendoza, even though Mendoza would be one of the top picks even in next year's draft, but he might not be the number 1 pick, is Ty Simpson getting evaluated because he's the best of the rest. I always go back to this. What do they say in real estate? It's the best to have the second nicest home on the block. You don't want to have the nice home on the block, you want to have the second nicest home on the block, so you jump over it.
So I misspoke. Mel Kiper had the Cardinals trading back into the first round, switching with Miami's pick to
30.
try to 30 at 30, to get Ty Simpson.
So if you think that Ty Simpson could develop into something, the quarterback from Alabama, and you sit him for a year, you could look like a genius because you're getting serious value for him. But then again, we've seen teams do this, and given the fact that it's supposed to be a stacked quarterback class next year, our GMs and head coaches, mainly for the Steelers, for the Jets, the Cardinals, whoever it is, are you really going to pin your future to Ty Simpson? I don't know if Ty Simpson showed us enough at Alabama to do that.
All right, let's squeeze in one quickie.
All right, the NBA ratings actually came out. The NBA says 170 million people watched the regular season, up 86% from the previous year, which is kind of surprising because so much has been made about the amount of tanking in the NBA, and that has been such a kind of a topic of conversation recently. But the NBA numbers up all around the board.
Now, this is also the first full year of the new streaming schedule.
Right, NBC got involved, Amazon Prime got involved.
I wonder how much that has to do with the numbers looking dramatically different, because 86% doesn't usually happen.
I do feel like, though, for all this, like, it's a microcosm of the NFL. We were talking about before the show.
Yeah.
If they were to go to Netflix or like Sunday Night Football, if like it keeps getting where Netflix and Amazon Prime are getting games, although people want to complain about the fact that they got to pay for the streaming services, it does feel like people do still tune in for them no matter what the NFL does. The NBA not to that extent, but per the numbers, looks like it is.
It's kind of shocking to me. I wonder if it has a little bit to do with, we know how much stars drive this league and stars on big teams. Like Luka's first full year with the Lakers could be part of this. You could have I don't know. That is a little surprising to me. I feel like in my friend group, this is the least amount of NBA that's been talked in my friend group in the last decade. Now we're heading into the playoffs. The group text is fired up about it. We were all betting last night's games. Like, it's starting to happen again. But that is a little shocking to me. All right, San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Padres on a heater. Let's get into it on the other side. Plus some rumblings out of the Pac-12 we'll get to over the next 30 minutes. And SD Fight Night tickets are coming very, very soon. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. What's up? It's Fletch. And if you're looking for something very, very cool and very fun to do next week for the whole family, we've got you covered. The Lakeside Rodeo is back. My wife and I, we go every single year. We volunteer, we hang out, we pour beer for all of you, and somehow we still want to come back every single year. It's a ton of fun, man. It's an absolute blast. It is one of those things that's on our calendar every single year. It's going down next week, Thursday, April 23rd through Sunday, April 26th at the Lakeside Rodeo Grounds. 4 straight days of awesome rodeo action. Bull riding, steer wrestling, rodeo queens, and of course, there's all sorts of activities and activations for the kiddos, which are the ones where I feel like I can really compete in. The 62nd annual Lakeside Rodeo is going down next week. It's one of those rare events that's actually affordable and great in 2026 for the whole family. Plus, it's supporting the El Capitan Stadium Association, which gives back to local youth out in Lakeside. So grab your crew, put on the boots, make a day of it. Come see what it's all about. Get your tickets now at lakesiderodeo.com. Lakesiderodeo.com. How often are you finding cheap stuff to do for the whole family that's this much fun? Get on out to the Lakeside Rodeo, and I will see you out there. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. Those SD Fight Night tickets coming up within this segment. I can promise you that. So stay tuned for the next 4 or 5 minutes and you're going to get yourself some SD Fight Night tickets, sdfightnight.com to buy them. Starting next Monday, San Diego Sports 760, we got 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway. Listen at the top of every hour from 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. starting on Monday. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. It starts Monday at 9 a.m. All right, Padres, they're on a hot streak, 6-0 over their last 6. They're the first team to get a 6-game win streak going this season. And they're doing it a little differently. They don't have the slug. They don't have the power. It was nice to see Laureano get a triple last night. But for the large part, this was Xander Bogaerts kind of batting people in all night long. He had 3 hits, 3 RBIs. It was great to see. They played excellent defense behind an excellent start from Michael King. That really was yesterday the all defense lineup for the Padres because you had Ty France at first base. Ooh, Ty France has been hitting the ball pretty well too. But that play he made at first yesterday probably saved the game for the Padres. But you look at what yesterday's lineup was able to do, and they were able to string some stuff together, right? Which is not my preferred way of winning ball games, but you get a 4-1 win with the ace on the mound opposing you. It's great to see for the Padres, man. And it's great to see Xander kind of finding some comfortability here this year because that's something Padre fans have needed to see from him.
It's great when we see Xander. It's funny how this year, well, people were curious. The Stars weren't always performing last year, but we talked about so much last year about how 6 through 9 was not giving the Padres what they needed towards the end of last year. That's why the Fermin get at the trade deadline was so big. But this year's been a little different. I mean, I think, Merrill's had a good start of the season. Bogaerts had a good start of the season. Ramon Laureano has been excellent, been one of the best players on the team, and kind of makes you sit there and go, if he was available for that Cubs series in the playoffs last year,
for sure.
Not saying they would have won it, but how big of an impact would that have been?
Yeah, maybe the bats wouldn't have gone just dead silent the way they did.
And so what this really does is, I know Tatis was decent last night, had that single, brought some runners in, but it really puts a spotlight on Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis because no one really gets the points anyone else. Like everyone else in the batting order is kind of doing their part.
Look, Manny's sub 200 on the year so far.
So it really highlights them because Gavin Sheets hits the walk-off home run last week. Castellanos been okay. So we can't really sit here and point to the supporting cast and go, they're the problem. No one else is helping out because they really have. And it was impressive last night that you go up against an excellent pitcher in Brian Wu at Petco, and Xander is a big game, and you're able to get a big win to open that series when they were coming off a 4-game win streak. But it really, I don't think the conversation is loud right now because they're winning. But if they stop winning, it just really shines a light on Tatis and Machado because everyone else is kind of doing their part. The pitching staff's doing their part. The starting pitching staff, despite injuries, has not been as bad, I think, as we thought they were going to be heading into the season. So it really kind of falls on Tatis and Machado. You can look at that as a positive, the fact that if we're relying on those guys to get it together, they have the ability to play big time, but it really kind of falls on them for this team going forward.
I mean, Machado's hitting 196 so far this year. That's just simply not good enough. And he has a couple of homers, but Tatis is hitting 242 this year with no home runs. So you're absolutely right. These guys need to get better. You know who's actually leading the Padres in average so far this season? And he only has 21 at bats, so it's not anything crazy, but it's Luis Campusano.
Right.
Luis Campusano's hitting 333 this year in 21 at bats. So it's obviously a much smaller sample size. But over the last few games, Luis Campusano has been as consistent as it comes. But so it's just funny that that's the guy that all the hate was targeted at.
To that end. How much hate have we seen on our text line about Luis Campusano? And I get the frustration.
He has a home run. Fernando doesn't. I mean,
everyone else is doing their part. And credit to the Padres because they're on a winning streak. They're playing good baseball right now. So I'm not coming down on them. But there's some, I don't want to hear about underlying metrics. Well, Manny and Tatis are hitting the ball hard. Don't give me that. There's a point now where they need to actually start putting the ball in play because everyone else is doing their job.
Yeah, man. I liked Campusano a lot. I don't know if everyone got to see, I think Marty Caswell had the video up on her Twitter account last night, but if you got to see the way he talked after the game, he was like, Marty asked the question. She said, what's changed for you over the last couple of weeks? And he said, I just stopped giving an F. And what a great attitude for a guy to have who has taken the slings and arrows and is coming out and he's productive as hell. He had another hit last night. I really like watching Campy play. I'm glad that we're getting a little bit of a redemption arc for him right now. And seeing him succeed is making me very, very happy. Hitting 333 on the season, 21 ABs, but that's going to continue to grow the better he plays because Freddie Fermin really hasn't done anything so far this year except be excellent behind the plate. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. Some news percolating around the new Pac-12. Do they need to add a team? Is that still happening? Is that the conversation? We'll see. Let's get into it a little bit on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This was sponsored by Summit Racing. Padres back tonight. 6:40. Randy Vasquez will be on the mound for the Pods. Looking to go up 2-0 against the Mariners in this set. And then we got the NBA plan. We got the Magic and the Sixers tonight. Sixers are a slight favorite at 1.5. And then the Clips taking on the Warriors. Per Steve Kerr, Horford, Porzingis, and Steph Curry will all be on a minutes restriction tonight, despite them being in a one-and-done playing game. The Clippers are 5.5-point favorites in that one. It's Car Care Month, and Summit Racing is what you need for bumper-to-bumper care. Revive the interior, exterior, underhood, and more. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code radio for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 3rd, 2026.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Sammy will keep the party rolling then. You're going to play that Harold Reynolds, Fernando Tatis Jr. sound, aren't you?
I am going to play that sound.
Good. I don't know if everyone saw that, but Harold Reynolds Making some bold predictions about Fernando Tatis Jr. and the main reason why he was playing second base. You'll hear that coming up in the 2:00 hour. All right. I messed up. I'm sorry, everybody. The SD Fight Night tickets will now come within the next 7 minutes.
Damn it, Ben.
I know. I'm sorry.
People are trying to come hang at the fight.
I know.
And you can't stay on the clock.
I know. I'm sorry. All right. Give us a call in just a few minutes here, and we will get you those SD Fight Night tickets.
I promise you we will be giving away the tickets.
Sammy and I will be out there on Saturday night. We hope you will be out there too. SDFightNight.com. There are still tickets available if you want to buy some. And they're pretty reasonably priced, man. I think I saw floor seats around $100, so you can get in for that. SDFightNight.com. Literally, we got a potential future world champ on our hands in Juju Ballo, who's going to be fighting on Saturday night.
Yes, sir. Very excited to go to the fight.
Have you seen some of his Instagram videos lately? Those hands are fast.
Dude, he's legit, man. He when we were talking to him, he talked about fighting at Madison Square Garden.
That was his pro debut. Was at Madison Square Garden.
And a lot of that, Madison Square Garden for fighters, a lot of the time is the pinnacle. Like that's what you dream of getting to fight at. And he just kind of walked in there, cool as cucumber, and took care of business. So man, I'm really excited to see him and Mansoor on Saturday night. So can't wait for all that.
It's going to be fun, and your chance to win tickets to that coming up in 6 minutes. I promise you we will get that done. All right, Pac-12, the meetings are going down right now up in Oregon, actually, and there's some questions that are out there, so I thought we would kind of have some fun with this because one of the big questions is, like, where is the Pac-12 basketball championship going to be? Obviously, for years now, the Mountain West Championship, which the Aztecs have been a part of for years now, has been in Las Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Clearly, that's not going to be the spot for whatever the Pac-12 championship is going to be. The T-Mobile Arena used to hold the Pac-12 championship, but now that's under contract with the Big Ten. So it's probably going to still be out in Las Vegas because that's where a lot of it is. But Sammy, what hotel do you want to go stay?
I hope it's not the Orleans and Mack Center.
See, I know there's
Thomas and Mack in the Orleans.
Thomas and Mack, yeah. So I'm kind of just thinking, all right, well, what hotel do I want to go stay at for the Pac-12 championship next year? And thinking, how can we work that around that? And I wonder if those are also the conversations going down in Oregon right now with all the new athletic directors.
Do you think it's exciting? They're going to the Pac-12. You're adding Gonzaga in because there's been I've heard a lot on social media of like both ways. Like some people are like, this is super exciting. They're going to the Pac-12. They're getting an opportunity now. And then some people kind of think it's a glorified Mountain West with just Gonzaga added to it. I fall more in the camp of I'm excited about it because I think this year's Mountain West was kind of an anomaly, and that San Diego State, credit San Diego State for like going out on a limb and trying to compete against top tier teams in the Players Era tournament, didn't go their way and came back to bite them late. So one team ended up getting in at Utah State. But I do think like in terms of basketball specifically, football, I don't know, but basketball specifically, getting Gonzaga, San Diego State, Utah State, those are three very recognizable programs. And then you're going to have years from other schools that kind of rise up. The fact that you're going to get at least 2 big time matchups against Gonzaga every year, those are going to be resume builders that can really push the Aztecs over the top.
And by the way, for football, like adding Washington State and Oregon State is huge.
Right. Those aren't scrub programs.
Right. The good programs that you're going into, and you're bringing in Boise State, who was just in the college football playoff a couple of years ago, is coming with San Diego State. So I do think that there's a lot of reason to be really excited. Now, I also think they need to add a couple teams to both football play and basketball play. I think they're at 9 right now for basketball, 8 right now for football. Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Texas State, Utah State, Oregon State, Washington State. I think I have that right. So that's the 8 football teams, and then you add Gonzaga for basketball. So like that's fun to me, man. As someone who gets to cover the Aztecs year in and year out, that is an upgrade over what they've been doing in the Mountain West. But now the questions are, well, what bowl games are going to be available? Because now it's been the old members of the Pac-12 still get to compete for the traditional Pac-12 bowl games. Is that changing? We haven't heard anything on whether or not that's changing. So like, is the Pac-12, the new Pac-12, going to be available for the Holiday Bowl or the Alamo Bowl, which USC played in last year? So there's just big question marks about what is going to be available to the new Pac-12 here. And I don't know if all that gets decided this weekend when they're all in Oregon and they're all together, or if these problems are still months away from being decided. But John Wilner has a great article out right now kind of talking about all the future questions for the future Pac-12. And it just seems like, okay, this is happening. Now we're going to rush to get it all figured out. And that's not a great strategy, but hopefully it all comes up aces for San Diego State and we get some fun stuff. So what hotel do we want to stay at for the Mountain or for the Pac-12 championship in Vegas?
I think on the iHeart company card, I think we could go with a Venetian, a Caesars, an MGM.
I'm telling you, I'm really liking Resorts World these days. I don't know. Have you been there?
I think I've been to Resorts World.
Like
I'm thinking of the right place.
They have a few hotels inside of it, and the Conrad is where I've stayed at. It's very, very nice. They got a huge, massive casino floor. Like it's massive, dude. It's so much fun.
I know, dude.
I got crapless craps there
in Vegas.
Yes, the crapless craps where they have every number, and it's not just 4 through.
I don't think I've ever played crapless craps.
It's fun. It's risky.
Oh, wait, hold on. How do you do? So wait, if you have every number, how do you do that?
That's just don't roll a 7. You can bet on every number other than 7.
But how is it different than normal craps? Because it goes from 2 to 12.
But it doesn't. It starts at 4.
Oh, okay. Then I play crapless craps.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. So it has everything, and you can just bet them all.
Why don't we have normal craps here in San Diego?
It's so dumb.
Yeah, because it has to be a card game like this. Because so lame.
It's California law. It's not just San Diego.
No, I know.
It's dice can't determine the outcome of a game, and it's the same with roulette. It's like you can't have normal roulette in California either. Let's pick it, Congress. Mobile gambling,
dude. Get us a few hours on Kogo. We will make some change, us and our listeners.
So I don't know. The Pac-12 conversation, I guess, like we're gonna learn more in a couple of weeks. I guess they're all figuring it out right now. Like JD Wicker's up in Oregon, all the athletic directors are, and hopefully we get some good news coming out of it. All right, Sammy had a fun question. We can finish up this conversation on the other side, but let's start it right here. When you look at changes that have come to sports within recent years, what's your favorite one? And so we got pitch clock in baseball, runner on second and extras during the regular season, automatic balls and strikes. That's in baseball. The play-in tourney in the NBA, the play-in season tournament in the NBA, NFL's new kickoff rule. What's your favorite one to hit mainstream sports over the last 5-6 years? So we've seen. So I'll tell you my least favorite. Can we start with that?
Yeah,
it's tied for the bottom. In-season tournament in the NBA, new kickoff rule in football.
Yeah,
I think those are both pretty pointless.
I think the in-season tournament, will be towards the bottom for me.
If the players took it more seriously, it could be fun.
I give it an incomplete right now because I lean with you. It's kind of missed the mark. It's a little dumb. I don't like that if you're on the cut line in the NBA, like the Lakers a couple years ago when they won it, they were barely making the playoffs, and I believe they smashed Indiana in the play-in tournament championship. Doesn't count. By the way, this is a tested and proven thing. Like overseas in soccer, it means something massive. So that's huge. That's what I'm getting to. I don't think we can really judge the in-season tournament until 10 years from now. If it's 10 years from now and it's the same kind of vibe where people are like, oh yeah, that's tonight. Like what? And it doesn't really matter.
Right.
I think it's headed that way. I don't think it's really working. I think they'd have to change it, but it's hard for me in the first couple seasons to be like, I don't see anyone bragging about their in-season tournament banner.
Right. If anything, you kind of are like, oh yeah, that's the thing that we won, but we're going to hide that over there.
Yeah. So I think that would be towards the bottom. The NFL kickoff rule, I think is a cool idea. I think that also will take a year or two for people. I'm excited for this year. I think special teams coordinators getting to look at it for a year or two now.
So, and here's what's undeniable. It led to more kickoff returns.
Which is great.
And it led to less just kicking the ball out of the back of the end zone. So I do like that factor of it. It does look goofy as hell when they're lining it up, but maybe that's just because we're not used to it yet. I don't know. Maybe it's
I feel like special teams coordinators are figuring out how to do it because you have to set it up immediately. It's not like you get a running start where you can get a guy running on the side and cutting back. 913 says, I like the challenges and balls and strikes. Adds excitement, feels game showy. But I would say that's a positive move for the NBA and college. Now, college hasn't figured out all the kinks in it yet, but the challenge system in basketball in general has been great.
It is a positive. College needs to figure out exactly how to utilize it properly. I don't think the coaches have necessarily nailed it yet. And the fact that it's so limited in college hurts the challenge system.
Yeah, it's limited in college. In the NBA, it's fun because there's kind of the age-old question of if there's something blatantly obvious that the ref missed in the first quarter, there's kind of the debate of, well, do you just use it knowing that you're gaining possession, or a lot of coaches just want to hold it to the final 5 minutes of the game. I do think the upper echelon, I think the pitch clock is the best of all.
The pitch clock is fantastic, and I really like the ABS so far. And I'll tell you what, baseball has figured it out. Their changes have all smashed to me.
The runner on second, I love.
Runner on second and extras is huge. Like not only for the logical part of it, it saves bullpen arms, which is the intended purpose, but it also adds an extra element that I don't think they were necessarily intending of excitement in the
and intentionally walking. Again, we don't need in some random Tuesday in July. We don't need a 20-inning game.
Right.
I'm sorry, like that does not need to happen, especially if you're going to have 162 games. I think all of baseballs have worked. I love the play-in tournament. I think that was a fun add to the NBA.
Well, if there are games like we got last night all the time, like that was the best doubleheader of NBA play-in games we've ever got.
Yeah, both were great games. Both were evenly matched. I get the criticism people have had is that too many teams get in the playoffs, and that's a discussion for another day, which I think will get fixed because now they're looking to include the play-in in the NBA draft lottery.
Well, and the NBA is going to expand by 2 teams. So if they leave the same amount of teams who are getting into the postseason, but you add 2 teams, then the problem's solved.
I just like seeing we all love game 7s, whether it's basketball, hockey. We love March Madness because of the one and done situation. It's fun that you're seeing like Miami and Charlotte essentially playing they played a March Madness game last night, and it was fun watching professionals do that, and it adds a fun element to that we only get a few times unless the series goes 7 games. So I think the play-in tournament as well as all of baseballs have really worked out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll continue this on the other side because who knew after years and years of calling Rob Manfred the most incompetent commissioner in sports, baseball's knocked this out of the park. It's San Diego Sports 760. Wait, pause, end of discussion. This was almost Sammy's fault because he was supposed to remind me. SD
I was
Fight
testing
Night.
you.
We've been teasing it all show long. We got a pair of tickets for you. The hottest show in town coming up this weekend up in Oceanside. Let's go. But we got potential world champs on the card. Juju Ballo, Johnny Mansour, 2 undefeated boxers coming into their prime up at Front Wave Arena, which is a brand new, beautiful arena up in Oceanside. If you want tickets, you can go buy them at sdfightnight.com or you can be caller number
7.
How about caller number 7? Caller number 7 at 877-767-4760. If you want tickets to SD Fight Night, call right now live on the iHeartRadio app. It's happening. It's happening right now as we speak until 8 p.m. tonight. It's a party out at the Valley View Casino and Hotel. The unveiling of the brand new slot machine, Wheel of Fortune, cash on reels. I cannot wait to get out there to play this new machine. And you could be among the first people in San Diego to play this brand new slot machine exclusively at San Diego's favorite casino. Get ready to spin and win fun, exciting prizes throughout the day. You do not want to miss this exclusive event happening right now at Valley View Casino and Hotel. Wheel of Fortune, cash on reels, the new debut happening now. All casino guests are eligible to join in on the fun, and to earn rewards while you play, make sure you have the Players Club card. I signed up my brother and one of our buddies this weekend for the Players Club card at Valley View Casino and Hotel. They got the $200 in instant gifts. They got $10 off their meal at Patties and Pints, where we enjoyed Austin burgers. They got $20 off the Black and Blue for their next visit, $10 to the cafe, $10 to sticks or snacks, $10 to Sweets, the excellent little dessert store, and $10 to the corner market. Free collectible t-shirt. And once you upgrade that card from red card to blue card status, which I just did over the weekend, I got 2 free Maine Lobster buffets coming my way. And the more you use your Players Club card on all your favorite slots or table games, the more rewards you're going to earn, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, and luxury gifts. So get on out to Valley View Casino and Hotel. To learn more, you can visit valleyviewcasino.com, but get out there today before 10 p.m. To check out the brand new slot machine, Wheel of Fortune, cash on reels. All guests 21 and over invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. Text line 858 says, what innovation created more interest in a sport fan than the Four Nations face-off?
That's a great ad.
That's a great ad. And I feel embarrassed that we didn't include that in the first place because the Four Nations face-off, I single-handedly got the entire world talking about hockey for about 3 weeks. That was awesome.
That's a great pull, 858.
Some of my most fun sports watching in the last 3 or 4 years has been the Four Nations face-off. I thought that was so great. 913, I like the challenges and balls and strikes. That's excitement. Feels a bit game showy, but I like it. And then we got an 858 who is a gambling hater, but we appreciate you being here, 858.
Oh, 858. Oh, I didn't read that properly. 858 is against gambling.
Said meth and heroin are not as bad as a gambling addiction.
Oh, shut up.
I'm gonna
take a hard pass. Meth and heroin are definitely worse than a gambling addiction.
I think that's safe to say.
I think that's
I don't know that for a fact, but I think that's
not that a gambling addiction is good. It's a very serious disease, but you know, I highly doubt that if we were doing the hierarchy of bad addictions, that meth and heroin would be below gambling.
I don't know. You seen that movie, the Adam Sandler movie? What's it called? Uncut Gems.
Yeah,
that dude. That might as well have been meth, right?
You know what? You know what the craziest gambling like addiction movie? The Gambler with Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, where he ends up getting it all back though, right?
I think so. I saw it a long time ago.
Just stay true to your story.
Yeah, stay true. He wasn't a quitter.
He just rode the path. That's a great movie though. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. We're closing up shop here. Sammy's going to keep this thing going. Coming up next, it's going long with Sammy from 2 to 3 every single weekday. And then, of course, Schaefer and Sliwa will be with you on your drive home, our excellent new afternoon show. Excited to hear what Sliwa has to say over the next couple of days about this Lakers matchup. Sliwa's wildly tied in. Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube. But the Lakers have such an interesting series coming up because this really is. It's like LeBron and KD going head to head, but it feels like there's so much more on the line for KD. And I don't know, with the announcement yesterday for the Lakers that Luka and Reeves probably definitely will not be available for this series, it really adds that much more on Kevin Durant. And can we see a little bit of a legacy changer for LeBron here? Like if LeBron goes out and just goes God mode and somehow makes this a series even, you start to look at him in a little bit different light at 41 years old. And that also plays into what's going to happen next year with LeBron. Like, does he stick around with the Lakers for another season? Is he in Cleveland for the farewell tour? I think there's a lot of questions.
I'm curious about LeBron can only go up. If the Lakers get smacked and Reeves and Doncic, per all reports, likely not coming back for the series, maybe Luka towards the end, we'll see. But if the Lakers get smacked, they're going to go, okay, well, you didn't have your first and third best player. I mean, take Shea and Chet off of Oklahoma City. I mean, they still probably be a good team, but they're not the same team. But Kevin Durant, if Kevin Durant loses this series to LeBron,
that's what I'm saying,
with no Luka and Reeves, and
even if it's just a good series,
right? Even if he's like wins in 6 games,
right?
7 games, people are to go, they traded Jalen Green for you to be the guy. And then you're talking about how you're in the GOAT conversation. The only championships you could win were with joining Curry, Clay, and Draymond. Like Kevin Durant there might not be a player that has more pressure in the first round of playoffs than Kevin Durant.
I don't think so either, man. It's going to be fascinating to watch that series. I really can't wait for it. All right. Padres news. If you missed it, Nick Pivetta to the IL, 15-day IL. Bummer. Probably could have saw this one. Well, we did see this one coming. Now, the interesting part about it is he's had an MRI, and according to the Jeff Sanders article that came out yesterday in the Union Tribune, they had the MRI, are still awaiting results. I don't think that's really how MRIs work, but okay, Padres, we see your game. I'm sure Schaefer and Sliwa will have a lot more on that later on. And then listen to Sammy coming up next because he has some very juicy Harold Reynolds sound. From
a lot of texts coming
Network
in about gambling addictions right now.
All right, well, keep them coming. Sammy will read them all.
I'll read them all.
San Diego Sports 760. See you tomorrow.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Padres and Mariners are getting ready for game 2 of their series tonight. It's going to be Emerson Hancock against Randy Vasquez. 6:40 is going to be the first pitch. In NBA news, the league announced today that 170 million people watched the regular season. They released numbers for the regular season saying that 170 million people in the U.S. watched NBA games across the league's 4 primary broadcast platforms. Those numbers are the league's best in 24 years, and it was an 86% rise over last season. And speaking of NBA, we got night 2 of play-in games tonight at 4:30. The Magic take on the 76ers, and we got Warriors Clippers at 7 o'clock. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
Welcome along. We got the stream here with welcome back. Week 3. Got a lot going on today. So we got Aztec Analytics jumping on at 2:30. Broke the news of some of the big signing, big transfers for the San Diego State Aztecs. So get your questions in on the text line for him. Text 70470. Start your message with team. Where did the Aztecs go from here? What do you make of Bear Cherry and some of the big transfers that they've got in? We're talking to him at 2:30. Crossover with Schaefer and Sliwa. Brent and I are taking odds on whether Sliwa will be late to the crossover. He has done this every day. It's becoming a thing for him to be late at 2:45 every day. And then we got the Padres. We're gonna get into some sound in a few minutes about Fernando Tatis. Interesting about him going to second base and whether that could spell something in the future. A trade down the road. We're gonna play that sound here in a few minutes from an analyst on MLB Network. But first, let me start with the playing games. Now, the playing games last night were a lot of fun. I mean, just from a fan perspective, I think it's fun overall when we get essentially March Madness style games. Fletch and I were just talking about it, about kind of all the sports and what's changed over the last couple of years. I mean, baseball, I think, has done a phenomenal job with adapting. I think ABS has been universally accepted. People really enjoying that. The runner on second, I've been a massive fan of, with not having games go to 20 innings in the middle of June and July. And then I think the pitch clock might be the best of all. I mean, the pitch clock has sped games up on average by about 30 minutes of regular time. And I think it's just been good for the game. I think it's certainly helped with the ratings and more people are interested. The NBA play-in has also been something that's been added the last couple of years that I've really enjoyed. And when we look at last night, I mean, the drama, you have, like, on paper, I think people who maybe aren't diehard NBA fans are sitting there going, wait, Charlotte, and we got Portland playing, and Miami's a pretty decently sized brand, and Phoenix. But those were great games last night. And I thought we should start with LaMelo Ball and the drama that played out with Bam Adebayo. So we know LaMelo Ball hits the game-winning layup at the end of the game. Charlotte moving on to face the loser of the Magic and the Sixers tonight. But in the first half, we have Bam Adebayo goes up for a shot. LaMelo Ball reaches his hand out. They slow it down, and it seems to look like he almost tripped him. Brent, do we have this sound? This is what Eric Spoelstra, head coach of the Miami Heat, had to say post-game on LaMelo Ball's actions.
I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I think it's a stupid play. It's a dangerous play. Obviously, our best player is out. I'm not making an excuse. The Hornets played great, and they made those plays down the stretch. We had our opportunities to win. I just, that's a shame. He should be penalized for that. I don't think that belongs in the game. Tripping guys, shenanigans, and Curtis was there. It's his responsibility to see that, and if it's not his responsibility, then Zach's got to see it. If somebody has got to see that, and that he should have been thrown out of the game for that.
LaMelo, it kind of looked like on film that you might have grabbed his leg. I mean, did you intentionally grab his leg?
I haven't even seen. Like I said, I got hit in the head. Didn't even know where I was. But yeah, just playing basketball. But like I said, sorry, and I'm gonna check on him.
Dude, every time I hear that and he says I'm gonna check on him, it makes me laugh. So, I mean, it's pretty fun. It's some drama. Now, when you look at the replay, you look at the slowdown. It does certainly look like LaMelo reached out and grabbed him. I'm not sitting here saying LaMelo Ball looks like he was trying to rip Bam Adebayo's ACL or anything like that, but it's a dangerous play. Bam Adebayo's up in the air and he reaches back and grabs him, knowing he could fall on his leg, knee injury, and ACL injury. A lot there. But overall, I think taking away from that, I think Eric Spoelstra handled it well. I mean, look, I would be frustrated too. As if I was a Miami Heat fan and Bam Adebayo missed that game, it goes to overtime, you lose by a point. Bam Adebayo certainly would have been a factor in the game. But it was fun seeing the drama last night, like the back and forth, the kind of rivalries back in the NBA. And every time the Heat now are going to play the Hornets, there's going to be something there. The night game was fun, seeing Denny Advia really put his name on the map. He was kind of at the end of that game when they came back down 11, pointed out Dillon Brooks and made it a point to go after him. And I kind of took away from last night, like, I think something's been missing in the NBA, and Major League Baseball has had this too, but I give the Padres and the Dodgers a lot of credit for bringing rivalries back. I mean, Padres Dodgers is must-watch TV. People in Milwaukee are like, man, these two teams hate each other. Like, this is, even if this is a random series in May, like, we're going to tune into this because these two teams, the managers don't like each other, the players don't like each other, the fans don't like each other, and it's fun. It feels like an old school Red Sox Yankees where we're not friends, and it's not a joke. And the NBA has missed that for years. I mean, we go back Lakers Celtics over the day. You know, Jerry West used to say he couldn't even go into Boston Garden because it made him physically sick to be there. He hated that place and that city and those fans so much. If you watch The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, I mean, Michael and Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons, them talking about each other, about how the hate still comes to this day. Like, there's something fun about that. There's something fun, I think, when fans, and text 70470, start your message with team if you agree with this. I have something that's fun as fans when we care about something. We're arguing with our friends, with our family, with our coworkers about a team, and the players kind of have that same motto. Because when the players are all swapping jerseys post game, I'm not saying everyone's got to hate each other, but when everyone's swapping jerseys post game, it's kind of an odd look because the fans are living and dying by these games and what's on them. So I think it was fun last night. Advia getting in Dillon Brooks' face. You have the whole Eric Spoelstra, LaMelo Ball, Bam Adebayo drama, which actually goes back a few years between LaMelo Ball and Bam Adebayo. But it kind of got me thinking like a big picture. So much has been made about, does the NBA have a next phase? And we're kind of seeing these guys phase out. Curry is playing tonight against Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. We'll see if he's able to win and keep the season alive. And we got LeBron and KD going up against each other. And the Lakers are obviously very shorthanded, not having Luka and Reeves. And Kevin Durant, I think, has the most pressure of all, because if you can't beat this Lakers team with the lack of supporting cast that the Lakers have right now, and you are brought in to be the guy for Jalen Green, to be the guy that takes Houston over the top with Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün, there's going to be some major question marks about him and his career there. But like, the top selling NBA jerseys, I think, tell us a lot about how we view our stars. So Curry is still number one, which makes sense. He's changed the game of basketball. If you go to a rec league, everyone's throwing it up from half court because he's completely changed the game of basketball. Luka is transcendent at number 2. Jalen Brunson, New York Knicks, number 3. Wembanyama 4. LeBron 5. Anthony Edwards 6. Jason Tatum 7. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is number 8. And it's kind of odd to me because, well, I want to take that back. It's not odd to me, but it's funny how just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're, quote, the face of the NBA. Shai won the MVP last year, won the NBA championship, going to win MVP again this year, has a very good chance to cut down the nets and go back to back. I mean, you're talking about a Hall of Fame career already, and he's what, in his mid-20s? I mean, this is a guy who has a whole career ahead of him. But it's like SGA, he's just a great player. He's just a great mid-range player. People kind of get after him with the foul merchant stuff, but he isn't necessarily, I would call, people sit and go, I have to go watch SGA play. I have to go buy a ticket because I have to go watch SGA, like we felt like with Curry, with LeBron, with MJ, with Kobe, with Dr. J. Go down the list of these players that you're like, you have to stop and go see this guy. And we talk about it as these guys kind of phase out, as LeBron and Durant and Curry kind of wrap up, like who's the next face of the NBA? And I think getting back to the rivalry talk, and Brett, I'm curious what your thoughts on this in a second. Like when we get to the rivalry talk, you look at the players who are higher on this list than SGA. Luka Doncic talks a lot of crap. Anthony Edwards talks a lot of crap. Tyrese Halliburton would be up here because he talks a lot through his choke up at the Garden or in Madison Square Garden, and he's been out for the full year. LaMelo Ball checking in at 15. Last night was a star-making performance. LaMelo Ball talks a lot, and it's fun. I think when we're getting back in the NBA to guys who are chirping, they're not all friends, and this kind of new crop of stars. And I think the only thing that hurts is that Anthony Edwards plays in a small market. Tyrese Halliburton plays in a small market. LaMelo Ball plays in a small market. Luka really is the only guy of that kind of young crop that plays in a big market that talks a lot. But it's fun seeing Luka and Ant Jaw go back and forth. Cooper Flagg, you could add to that. I mean, I think it adds into the game that some of these stars, as evidenced by last night, but last night was so compelling. I doubt we have a ton of listeners who are diehard Portland Trailblazer fans. Maybe we do. Maybe there's a big Trailblazer base out here in San Diego. But that was fun watching Danny Avdia and Dylan Brooks go at it. And LaMelo Ball and Bam Adebayo, not saying I don't want anyone to get injured, but going at it is fun. I think it adds something to the game and why the play-in tournament has felt like a success, at least through the first night. Brad, what do you think?
I think that it will make a difference, especially if the games aren't close. If we don't get endings like we did in the Charlotte game last night, where it's literally coming down to, a blocked buzzer beater at the horn to seal the game, then I think you can use the rivalry just to add more fuel to it. So, a rivalry will make a 10-point game more interesting than if it was just, two random teams that don't really care about each other, just in general playing each other, and it's a 10-point game. As far as the LaMelo thing, and I don't know so much he's going to be a star. I think as far as like popularity, I think his old man did enough to ruin that, because there's going to be a huge portion of people that still don't like him just because they don't. Doesn't that make the
villain type role though? Because I agree with you. I think LeVar, Lonzo kind of being a bust in the NBA has added a lot. I don't think a lot of people necessarily love the Ball family.
He's a villain, but in the bad way. Dylan Brooks in a way is a villain, but he's a villain in a hokey kind of cheesy way, to where people don't like him because he runs his mouth and he's not as good as he thinks he is. But people just don't like the Ball brothers just because they just didn't like his dad, because his dad ran his mouth so much about everything, and then the stuff with the shoes and everything else. But, I think Shea and all those other guys, and Wemby, I think Wemby's going to be the star of the league once LeBron and Steph and them finally retire. We have the class of players there. Agreed. They just have to wait.
And Wemby, to your point, I forgot about Wemby. I mean, Wemby chirps. We talked about it. I loved when Wemby was campaigning for himself for the MVP. I was like, good, good for Wemby. Good for Wemby for being like, yeah, I do want to win the MVP. I, as a kid, dreamed of winning the NBA MVP, and I'm this close to doing it. And I am campaigning for myself. So this whole kind of young crop of stars are adding something, I think, to the NBA, that it's a transition period, because we're still Kevin Durant, LeBron, Curry are still there, and they're still drawing headlines because they're bigger stars than a lot of these guys as of now. But I got to give credit to the Memphis Grizzlies from back in the day. I mean, Dylan Brooks, I don't personally like Dylan Brooks as a Laker fan, but I got to give Dylan Brooks a lot of credit. Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and John Morant and that team. John Morant openly said when the Lakers beat him in the playoffs, yeah, I hate the Lakers. It's I hate the Lakers, and I want to beat the living, out of them every time we play. I love that. I love that in the NBA, that John Morant shouldn't like the Lakers. Lakers don't like John Morant. LeBron and Dylan Brooks should hate each other. LeBron has been this guy's been a pain in my side, and he's not even that great of a player. So more guys like that, Pat Bev, Draymond Green, are good for the league, because you're going to tune in because you hate them or you love them. You love them if they're on your team. And if not, you're going to tune out, or you're going to tune in to root against them. And I like the where it's going, in that I think the jersey sales are very telling. SGA is just a great player, but he's kind of quiet, doesn't really say a whole lot, doesn't really out there pound his chest, and he's going to be respected as a great player. So I'm on face of the league. I think for a face of the league, Michael, Kobe, LeBron, guys like that are outspoken. And that's where you go to Wemby, Ant, Luka. Like you go down the list. Some of these guys, Halliburton, when he comes back, are guys that really kind of speak their mind. And I think it adds something to the NBA star pool going forward and certainly to the brand. All right, coming up next, we got some spicy sound on Fernando Tatis and why one MLB analyst thinks that the Padres playing him at second base could lead to bigger plans for the franchise. That's coming up next on Going Long. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we got Aztec Analytics, my guy JB joining us, breaking down all the Aztec transfer portal news. A lot flying around for the Aztecs in that one. So guys heading out, guys heading in. It's an interesting spot for the newest member of the Pac-12. All right. Before we get to that, though, Padres obviously have a big night last night, beating the Seattle Mariners. Very impressive, 3-1. It was great seeing them kind of do it against an elite level pitcher, although the bats weren't fantastic last night. They did what they had to do, got the win, 6-game win streak. Padres deserve a lot of credit. But Harold Reynolds from MLB Network had this to say on Fernando Tatis playing second base and the Padres trying him out there for the weekend.
I'm telling you right now, I think this is a showcase because the Padres payroll, look at this. I know they're up there battling the Dodgers every year. We say it over and over and over. I'm sorry, they gotta do something. They can't carry this payroll. The Dodgers can't. They can't carry this. Somebody's got to go. So who of those guys do I want? I want Fernando Tatis.
He's the most movable for sure. And I think you make a very interesting point because who, other than Ohtani, because he's two players, a full-time starting pitcher and a DH, brings the most roster flexibility?
You got Mookie Betts.
That's
and
the guy.
This guy. That's it.
Mookie Betts is a platinum glove right fielder who has proven he can be in the mix for a Gold Glove at shortstop, played second base for the Boston Red Sox. We've seen play. So if you can showcase, which is the word you use, Fernando Tatis Jr., hey, all you clubs out there, you see the recipe for success with the Dodgers, right? They need to go get Teoscar Hernandez to solidify right-handed slug in free agency. Well, we'll just put him in right. We'll move Mookie to short. And if we want to sign a shortstop, we'll move Mookie to second base. Like, Mookie gives them roster flexibility every winter. So here they are, basically showing the other 29 organizations. I know Mookie's locked up. He's never leaving Chavez Ravine. But maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. is the next Mookie Betts because of his versatility.
There's a lot to unpack there. So, okay, do I think that they were showing him over the weekend? And text me your thoughts. Text 70470. Start your message with team. Do you agree? Do you think the Padres, that was a showcase for Tatis to potentially be moved? I wouldn't go that far. I mean, because frankly, right now, Tatis is trade value is at an all-time low. Okay, through this season so far, he's hitting 242, 16 hits, played decent last night, got a couple hits, but 7 RBI, 0 home runs. His OPS is 619. So I don't know if that would be to move him. I don't know if, first off, if you're going to move Fernando Tatis, you need a 14-3 stretch from last year where he's playing like the NL MVP, and then you would move him. Like, trading him now would make 0 sense because teams are going to point to those numbers and go, well, I mean, is he the same since the PEDs? I mean, that's what the conversation is going to start with. People are going to go, he was great 4 years ago, looked like the star of baseball, and yet every year there's been something, whether it's been suspensions, injuries, just not seeing things at the plate. And look, I know everyone wants to go, they got great underlying metrics. Okay, we're 3 weeks into the season. I don't want to hear about underlying metrics. I want to see production. And this is where I give the Padres a lot of credit around Machado and Tatis because Jackson Merrill playing excellent so far this season. Ramon Laureano has been the MVP and really makes you wonder, like, if he was available for that Cubs series. And no, I'm not saying that they would have won, but it was certainly a missing piece for them in that series because the bats were frankly lifeless against the Cubs. And I mean, Xander Bogaerts playing well last night. It's cool seeing him have a couple moments. The grand slam against the Rockies, the playing well last night against a really good pitcher, Brian Wu. What this has done so far as evidence difference from last year where we had concerns about the stars and we put a lot on Jackson Merrill being injured and Bogaerts not performing, but we pointed a lot to 7 through 9. And it was so desperate why they got Freddie for me at the deadline because they needed some production from the catcher spot. Well, Luis Campusano has been all right this year. He's actually been better than all right. He's been pretty decent. Jackson Merrill, Ramon Laureano, Xander Bogaerts. The starting pitching staff has not been as bad, I think, as we all thought heading into the year, despite the Pivetta injury, despite the fact that Joe Musgrove might not be here for the foreseeable future. German Marquez had a decent start against the Pirates. Walker Buehler hasn't been awful, looked decent last Friday night. And the bullpen has been nails. Outside of the first weekend of the season, the bullpen's been what we all expected. What this has done is really highlight 2 players, and that is Fernando Tatis Jr., and that is Manny Machado. Because Tatis, I mentioned, 242, 16 hits, 0 home runs, 7 RBI. Let's look at Machado's numbers. 213 with 2 home runs, 9 RBI, and 10 hits over 15 games. OPS 774. So why it's frustrating sometimes because we know these guys can reach another level. They're supposed to be, they're paid to be the faces of the franchise. And so far up until this point, well, the Padres 6-game success, a lot of that has been the supporting cast. Like, it's easy to blame Luis Campusano. It's easy to blame Jeremiah Estrada. It's easy to blame Walker Buehler, Germán Marquez. Go down the list. But Randy Vasquez has been money. Like, they have been getting production from guys that they wouldn't, I don't think necessarily. Kyle Hart has been fantastic for this team. I mean, guys that you would have said Randy Vasquez and Kyle Hart have been this good this early in the season, I would have been kind of shocked. I wouldn't have necessarily, I don't think a lot of Padre fans would have believed you right before the season started. But what this is doing, and kind of circling back to the conversation about are they showcasing him, this is the season where so far, if we had a pin on 2 players that we're concerned about, it's Machado and Tatis. We've seen Machado go through slumps before, but like, I'm kind of tired of making that excuse. Like, it's kind of it's not kind of, it is unacceptable. These guys have to play better because if you're going to get to the postseason, if you're going to beat the Dodgers, if you're going to beat the Phillies, the Cubs, these franchises who you know are going to be there, the stars have to show up. And the Padres, to their credit, and to credit to AJ Preller, and then he surrounded this roster with enough talent to where they're winning ball games right now, not just against the Rockies, against a good Pirates team with good pitching, against a damn good Mariner team last night, and a Red Sox team that has been flailing, but on the road, that's a tough place to play. But at the end of the day, if the Padres are going to make noise the rest of the year, and especially with the mounting injuries at the starting pitching staff with Musgrove and Pivetta, we don't know what we're getting from Matt Waldron when he's coming back this week. I mean, these guys, at the end of the day, they have to play better. They have to play better. And Luis Campusano in the fringe parts of this team can only carry you so far. So do I think that they're putting a dress rehearsal for them to be traded? Not necessarily. But when new owners come in and they're paying Fernando Tatis all this money, and they're still looking at highlights from 4 years ago, trying to squint and see the guy that we all know he can be, there's going to be some interesting decisions there. And it'll be curious to see how the new owners look at this versus John Seidler and what the Padres have now. All right, coming up next, Aztec Analytics jumping on me. Aztec's got a lot going on right now. College basketball has really turned into a year-long sport. Aztec's got some big portal commits, lost a couple guys to other places, get a status update on the team and where we see the Aztecs going forward. Coming up next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. The Padres and Mariners are getting set for Game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emerson Hancock going for Seattle and Randy Vasquez going for San Diego. First pitch is set for 6:40. The NBA announced today that 170 million people watched the regular season this year. The league released numbers saying that the 170 million was across the U.S. 170 million people across the U.S. watched NBA games across the 4 primary broadcast platforms this year. The numbers are the league's best in 24 years, and said it's up 86% over last season. And speaking of NBA, we got night 2 of the play-in games at 4:30. We got Magic and 76ers, and at 7 we got Warriors Clippers. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help put their family put food on the table. You can help them. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat getting warm around here.
Light the fires, Big Daddy.
Who's next in the hot seat?
Welcome back to Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Now, I had this guy on last week or 2 weeks ago, and there was such a clamoring. People were like, Sammy, we need you to stop talking. We need him back on the air talking San Diego State basketball. Aztec Analytics, go shoot him a follow on X. JB jumping back on me today. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Sammy? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So a lot changed since we last spoke. You know, last time we talked, there was so much uncertainty in the portal. There were a lot of people were concerned with the amount of names in the portal for the for the Aztecs. So let's start with Bear Cherry. You actually broke the news that he was transferring to San Diego State. What do you make of him transferring in? And did the Aztecs finally kind of get that big they were looking for the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think definitely just in terms of replacing, what obviously went into the portal and graduated. Bear Cherry, he was a really good find, actually. He's a San Diego guy. His brother Tayshawn, also a San Diego guy. Bear played 6 games at Sacramento State last year, but he unfortunately got injured. But he was averaging 16 and 8 up until that injury. And the reason why a lot of people might recognize the name Bear Cherry is because he played for UNLV this season prior, and he was really good at UNLV. He shot 63% from the field. He was 70% within 3 feet of the rim, which is very, very good. Defensively, he was very good as well. High block percentage. He was second in the Mountain West in blocks. And, his post offense inside the paint got better year to year, despite the fact that he did, have that injury. So, you're getting a guy who I think has a lot of upside. And the bottom line is when he played on UNLV, they were much better when he was on the floor, including their defense. Their defense went from 117th to top 50 when he was on the floor as a defender. So I think that was a very, very underrated pickup. But there's still more work to do in terms of the front court positions.
Right. So, I mean, that's all those stats are fantastic right there, like laying that out. I mean, Coach Dutcher definitely seemed to, I remember the first interview he did like with John right after the season was kind of highlighted how the front court, they have to upgrade the front court. And I think we'll get some Magoon Guat, these guys in a minute, but like they finally get their guy. Do you think that they're done there, or do you think that they're going to kind of go with, like last year, they kind of built the team around Magoon and then do a wide out, have so many, guards on the floor and wing players, kind of have one traditional center. Do you think the Aztecs are kind of going to a different philosophy where it's going to be more front court driven at San Diego State?
Well, I think last year was interesting. Basically what happened was they split the minutes between Miles Heide and Pharaoh Compton almost right down the middle. And I think this year they might do something similar. It's just more so what type of front court player they go grab from the portal. Is it someone who's going to be more defensive oriented or someone who's more offensively inclined? Like you mentioned last year, the front court combined numbers were just not that great. But I think it was also in turn because of the fact that, you play 40 minutes you play 40% of your minutes, you're really sharing a lot of minutes. And I feel like it was really hard to get a rhythm sometimes. But as far as what they're going to get, they're not done because obviously, like you mentioned, Magoon left, Miles left, and Pharaoh left. So that leaves Bear in the middle right now. But they're not done on that front. There's been some rumblings of international guy possibly. There's been a couple of targets from some of the low majors, but yeah, it's definitely not done in terms of what we're going to do for the front court.
What do you make of the Nick Anderson transfer? He was a very talented player at Rice, had a big game against Oregon. What do you think he adds at the guard spot for the Aztecs?
I love the Nick Anderson pickup specifically because of the shooting. He shot 40% from three last season, and I did some digging like I normally do, and there were 122 players that shot as many times as he did, and only 28% of them shot it at a 40% clip. So this is a guy who can shoot the ball and does shoot the ball, right? There's a big difference between a good percentage but a low volume. He's a high volume and he's a high clip, which is what we need. In fact, him alone last season would have accounted for almost 40% of the makes that San Diego State made from three.
Wow.
So it is, yeah, it's a huge need to get a guy like Nick Anderson from Rice.
Yeah, I'm excited about him, and I feel like a name that really kind of gets lost is Latrell Davis. I mean, Latrell Davis redshirted all last year, and I was kind of surprised they didn't go with him. Like, I get there was kind of a logjam there at the guard and forward spot with BJ Davis and Miles Byrd, Reese Dixon Waters. So I guess I get it in the sense of you don't want to kind of waste a year of eligibility, and when he's not going to be a focal point in the team. But he was a guy who certainly got after San Diego State multiple times 2 years ago, and I feel like he's kind of a little bit of a secret weapon right now for the Aztecs, and that people aren't really talking about him, but was a guy who was a very good player in the Mountain West, and pair with Nick, it could be a very talented backcourt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because like you said, I think, when someone transfers in and redshirts the whole year and you don't see him on the court, you kind of forget. And like you mentioned, Latrell, he shot 39% from three 2 seasons ago. A little bit lower volume than Nick Anderson, but now for the, next season's outlook, you're thinking, I got legitimately 2 guys that will probably shoot between, 37 and 40% from deep, which addresses a huge hole for San Diego State. One little tidbit, last year, they were out made from three by 77 shots throughout the year, which is the bottom 25 in Division I. And in 8 of the 11 losses, they were outmade from three. So it's a big thing that needs to be addressed. And I'm pretty comfortably saying it has been addressed, which is good.
That's a crazy stat. Yeah, I did feel like it just felt like with the Aztecs last year, so much they could never get an easy bucket. Like it was never, they could just come down, someone could get their own shot. And when, it was all more about the team and running an offense, which is great. They got to do that. But sometimes at the end of a game, you just have to have a player that just pulls up and makes a shot over somebody else. So some familiar names from, Aztec land. Magoon's going to DePaul, Miles Byrd of Providence, BJ Davis was kind of some mixed reports, but visiting with Creighton. Which of those three do you see as kind of the biggest loss for the Aztecs and that they're going to have, the hardest problem replacing going forward?
Well, I think the obvious answer is Miles Byrd, just because of his pure impact on the game. I think that gets kind of overlooked in terms of, general people will look at points and say, oh, well, he only scored, X amount of points. But his overall impact on the game, both offensively and defense, was huge. Now, BJ Davis is the big one because he was the guy, he was the playmaker last year in terms of, he single-handedly won a couple games because he was the guy that said, you know what, I'm going to go get a bucket real quick and we're going to win this game. So, I think both of those two guys are going to be, fairly difficult to replace, especially Miles Byrd, but it is what it is. It's portal season, so no surprise there.
When we look at Fletch and I earlier, we're talking a little bit about, I believe the new Pac-12 is having some meetings this week, but so the rebuild, conference, especially for basketball, Gonzaga, Boise State, San Diego State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Utah State, Oregon State, and Washington State. Like, how do you view that? Because there's the critics have said it's basically a Mountain West with outing Gonzaga. And then I think a lot of people have said, I think that there's some primetime ability for San Diego State, and that San Diego State is a big time basketball program. Utah State is certainly been a rising college basketball program, getting a win this year, and then losing to Arizona, and then you add Gonzaga in with the brand. So I think you're getting the Aztecs will at least get multiple big time matchups every year and an ability to boost their resume. But like, how do you look at that? Do you see this as kind of just, a little bit better of an increase, or do you see this as a real big positive change for San Diego State?
Yeah, I see it as of right now, definitely a little bit better. Obviously you're adding Gonzaga and you're taking out some of the bottom, teams of the league, which is naturally going to give you better matchups. But the thing is, Washington State really struggled last year. Oregon State really struggled last year. Obviously, Fresno State struggled last year. So there's a couple of those teams at the bottom of the new Pac-12 that, they need to be better because their net rating or their net ranking last year was just not as good as they need to be. But with those teams getting guys out of the portal, especially Oregon State, they've done a great job. I'm confident in saying that they can be better. But as of right now, I would say overall it's definitely better, but there's some work to be done. But obviously, we won't know what we, know until the portal's over.
Aztec Analytics, go give them a follow on X. Again, Aztec Analytics covering everything. San Diego State doing a great job of it. JB, the text line loves you. They want you back all the time.
I would love to be back. I appreciate the opportunity each time.
Of course, dude. Great talking to you. We'll be have you back on soon. All right, that was Aztec Analytics. Again, go shoot him a follow on X, doing some great San Diego State basketball content year round. So again, go shoot him a follow. All right. Schaefer and Sliwa coming up next, crossover. What are we going to get into today? Yesterday, we got into our destination weddings. Should you have to pay, give a gift, even if you were there going to a destination wedding? I said my presence was the gift, and John agreed with me. Alan had a very different take, but we'll see what's on the docket for today coming up in a few minutes on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long live on San Diego Sports 760 on the iHeartRadio app. Was great getting to talk to Aztec Analytics. And look at this, John Schaefer joining the program. Alan Slee was somewhere.
Where is Alan?
You know what? He's about to get blacklisted.
Wait,
from this.
He's gonna say. What did you say to him the other day?
The day got away.
The day got away from us.
The day got away from us.
The crossover got away from us.
The crossover got away from us. How you doing, dude?
I'm good, dude. It's beautiful day outside. Looking forward. Padres are playing well. Yeah.
Yes, that was a very impressive performance last night from them.
Okay, yeah.
I'm curious where you fall on LaMelo Ballgate. So are you?
We'll spend a little bit of time on that.
Okay, I don't want to spoil your take.
But I will say it's less about LaMelo Ball. I will say this, and we will talk about this during the show today. Because yesterday I was so anti-playing. I'm like, this is a joke. I'm going to change my tune. What I failed to recognize is the games can still provide good theater. Maybe I don't like the 9th team playing the 10th team. I'm like, that's too much.
Right.
But then you get into the game and you're sitting there watching it play out. Like the Hornets Heat game, objectively speaking, was entertaining.
That was a great basketball game.
The LaMelo, that's a whole other thing. But forget about that for a moment and just go through the end of that game. He built a couple of 6-point leads. Hornets hit some clutch threes down the stretch in regulation. So, I think I've changed my tune a little bit. I wish more of the NBA was as compelling as that can be.
We were talking earlier, Flesh and I, about, baseball, ABS.
Did day get away from you?
Did day get away? Did day get away from you? Nice of you to join us, pal. So you know what? It's actually, I'm glad you walked in right now.
What time do we usually do this? I still don't know.
You gotta feel it. It's gotta be like
it's like a 2:40. Feel it 2:45.
I'm not a big break.
45. That seems like a lot.
I'm not a lot of time. Yeah.
I'm not a big break on time guy.
Yeah.
I'm a more just feel. It drives Mike Usher crazy.
So why don't we do this? Can we come to an agreement on this?
2:47.
John, first off, you're never going to be late. Like I feel like
John's here.
If it's 2:45, you're here at 2:44.
John's always on time.
What do we think of 46 to 48, something like that?
We could do that. You still would have been late.
Yeah, it's 2:50 right now.
Yeah, but we're setting the standard now. I didn't know the standard.
No, we didn't start until 47.
Brent actually has some sound. I got this sent to me of a movie scene that reminded people of The Day Got Away and of you coming in late. And I promise you, if you have lived in San Diego for any period of time, you will recognize the scene. So here it goes.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
Spicoli. Did no one get that reference in here?
Brent did.
But come on. Hold on. Play that again, Brent.
Play it again.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
Hold on. This is a real
Lost
problem.
on some of the audience. I mean, I've seen no movie ever.
I know you haven't. Alan, as someone who grew up in San Diego, there is no way you have not seen this movie.
Die Hard 3.
Yeah, what is that? What is that from? Is that
Fast
Major
Times
League?
at Ridgemont High.
That's Major League?
Okay, by the way, you could tell it was that movie just by his voice.
Right.
Just by his voice.
You said Die Hard 3.
I know. I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm glad. Okay.
It's Die Hard 2.
That bit was lost because I forgot John Schaefer's here.
Real quick though. Now you've just because me and Alan are still learning each other.
Yeah.
Is Alan a movie guy?
Oh, I don't even know that. Are you a movie guy?
Are you a movie guy?
Do you enjoy the cinema?
I do like the cinema, but people throw out movies,
lines and references.
Yeah, it's I can't even remember what I did a week ago, so I'm not going to remember a movie from the 80s.
Brent knows every line of every movie that's ever happened.
See,
it's amazing.
Brent and I
seriously.
All right, Brent. Titanic, hour and 8 in. What's the line?
No, but he knows. I'm telling you, he knows.
Yeah, Brent knows his stuff.
It's amazing.
But isn't that kind of, you got people that know everything about movies, or you got idiots.
I'd qualify as the latter.
John does
I
qualify.
didn't see Titanic until 2023. I was like, don't spoil it for
Could
me.
Jack have fitted on the door?
I didn't even know the ship went down. This is unbelievable.
This guy said, don't spoil it for me.
Hold
That's
on.
good. That's really good.
So, okay, since you're not a movie guy, what's the one movie you point to and go, that's my film?
Hear me out for 1 second.
Yeah.
How can I live a life as obsessed with sports as I've lived?
Oh, it's both.
I don't find oh, let me spend the next 4 hours watching Gettysburg.
Okay, but
Like,
can I give you an example?
Can I beef with that?
Can I? This guy at Hornets
Right? I need
Heat, man.
Hornets
This
Heat time.
is going to be your. I love that this is your
love
thing.
Hornets Heat.
Let me give you a couple of movies where you're going to be like, oh yeah, I know.
I can't wait for this.
If I go some classic Will Ferrell movies, right?
course.
Old school, or if I go Anchorman,
course.
or if I go, let's go with some of the greatest movies of all time: The Godfather,
Just
Goodfellas.
watching it last night.
Never seen Godfather, not 1 second.
Okay,
Maybe on, like, TNT.
John.
Never seen it. I kid you not.
Is that a real thing? You
I have
haven't?
no clue what happens.
Okay.
What?
All right. It's
What's
okay.
it about?
Listen.
Some guy's dad.
Listen to me.
A horse.
I don't judge.
You could judge.
No. I'm not going to judge. But here's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. See it?
Within the next 2 weeks or so,
Go watch the Godfather.
You should
just watch The Godfather.
Everyone does this to me.
Brandon's
Brent, do they
shaking
not
his
do
head.
this to me? Jim goes, just watch Star Wars for the next 9
Yeah, but
days.
I'm not going to give you crap for it. I'm just going to say Godfather. True. I think you will love
I'm
The Godfather.
jealous you
I
get
think
to
you will love The
experience it
Godfather.
for the
Okay,
first time.
I'll check it out.
I
Is it new? No, I know. It's from like the 70s.
1972.
It's like a shooting or something.
No, well,
Listen,
there's some shooting
don't
involved.
say anything. Just go.
Yeah. But Brent knows. He's worked with me for 9 years.
John will hate it.
I will.
No, you won't
like
hate
The
it.
Godfather?
You won't hate it. You'll like it. By
It's
the
a-
time
but
by the
then
time the
there's-
movie's done, you're going to be smoking a cigar, walking
Yes.
around the house in
Walking,
a row.
drinking some
Godfather
bourbon.
4 and there's Godfather 7 and I just
So there's
can't.
3.
But I didn't tell you.
Young Al Pacino.
Yeah, and I didn't tell you to go see Godfather 3. I just said watch
Just one.
the first
I know.
Godfather.
Just
That's
one.
all.
I just feel so far behind.
Here's the thing.
Like
You're
other
okay.
people have
You
already
said
seen that, I feel
you
like.
said though, I'm a massive sports fan. I can't like movies.
Right.
Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of a pass because you have a child, so
I
you
do.
have a little bit of a bedtime.
But
Okay, I don't have a
child
bedtime.
back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So sports ends at 10
In the West, yes.
in the
Yes.
West.
Yeah.
In the Western.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
In
this is
Hawaii,
10 to 8 or 6, yeah.
it's you
Right.
could have
But
dinner
in the
if you
East,
watch.
in the
Isn't
East
it-
it ends very late. But
yeah.
That's a good point. But
But
there's
what-
also time before you get home, pop a movie on, then you're ready for the first set of games.
No, dude. It's
10
just-
o'clock?
no, I'd rather
I'm not overselling anything. I'm just saying I'm going to find out where it's streaming. I'm going to purchase it for you.
Godfather?
Yeah, because it's going to be like $2.99, $3.99
Yes.
to rent it. And
Steve-
Do I then come over to your house?
no.
We'll have a movie night with the boys.
Yeah, it's a good point. You're going to have to stream it
I'm gonna
yourself.
have to rent
Yeah,
it
because I don't know
myself.
how we're
Steven-
going to do that.
Steven asks on YouTube, does anybody get hurt in The Godfather? A few people get hurt. Just a horse gets hurt.
Get it for me on like VHS. Bring in the tape.
No
and
joke.
I'll
I
put
could get
in.
it. I could get it to you for on DVD.
DVD.
We have the
Okay.
DVD.
The issue is I don't have a DVD player.
That's an issue.
Okay, so I'm learning so much today.
Might skip.
I
you-
did see the new SpongeBob with my 7-year-old.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Not great.
It's not good.
It's not great.
Well, no
It's not
wonder
that-
you don't like movies. That's the
I
only
was
movie you
really-
see.
It was awful. I slept through 40 minutes of it.
So I should not find where it's streaming. Like,
No.
hey, I'll do SpongeBob. You
No.
do Godfather.
Dude, you need like drugs to watch SpongeBob.
Okay.
Dude,
without
I
children.
might be interesting.
there's a lot to unpack here. You guys are coming up next. What's on
Yeah,
the show
coming
today?
up.
Oh, we're talking Godfather, obviously.
Godfather 1, 2, and 3.
We're doing Hornets and Heat.
We're-
Lot on
Commercial free.
LaMelo.
commercial free.
Hornets and Heat Talk. Dan Zaborski from Fangraphs.
Okay.
He's a good voice on
Yep.
the Padres. He'll join us at 3:30.
Adam Oslin, who is Clippers pre, half, and post for iHeart up in LA. He's going to join us, talk Clippers and the Warriors.
Okay.
America's team. Clippers in action tonight.
Oh my lord!
What did I tell you when you texted me America's team? I said,
Galaxy's team.
Yeah, America's
No, I said-
held to a good standard.
I said it's like it's the global brand.
Yeah, it's a global brand.
Cowboys, Clippers. That's what it is. All right, John Schaefer, Alan Slewa coming up next. Make sure to tune in. I'll be back tomorrow at 12. See you.